Hello, Durud and Shalom. We be live. Hi, Monkey.
Hello, Durud, Shalom, and Hola.
Hola. Hola. Monkey, we are getting a lot of boom booms. A lot of boom booms. It seems like it's escalating every single day. What are your thoughts before we look at the update? Have you seen? Just give me a. Are you happy, just in general, witnessing what's happening?
One of the reasons I'm happy is just the direction it's going. The other reason I'm happy is I was right. It is escalating.
Yes. The parts that they're attacking are also quite in line with what we expected, which is interesting. But we still don't know exactly what the next plan but other than they are going to be escalating, and I think that's good. That it's hard to predict what the next plan is because we don't want it to be as obvious. Because if it's obvious to us, it would be obvious to the Islamic Republic as well. But let's look at this quick update for everybody to get on the same page, and then we'll go. And yeah, let's Monkey. Also, let's keep an eye on the chat and see what other people think in the chat. But let's play this video. Boom! That's the bridge taken out. I think that was the bridge that we saw from the ground yesterday.
I believe so.
All right, let's go to Jesse Waters. His updates are usually the best.
Fox News alert.
It's not pausing, so I need to refresh. So there we go. And then let's full screen this. He gives the he gives the best updates. He gets to the point, and by the end of it, if you missed anything, you're now on the same page as everyone else.
Fox News alert. Trump's burning bridges. Last night, we eliminated 3 key Iranian bridges around Bandar Abbas. They're large, but Iran still has some fight left in them. They launched ballistic missiles into Kuwait, hit a water plant. That's terrorism. Axios is reporting Iran's also launching missiles at bases in Saudi Arabia. So far, everything's been intercepted. But here comes the big squeeze. Airstrikes combined with the naval blockade is strangling their economy. And once we step up attacks on bridges and rails in the north, we'll have a land blockade. The goal is to take their oil revenue down to zero. All of these chess moves are setting the table for a massive offensive. When Trump was in the Situation Room this week, he was handed a new menu of options, like wiping out power plants and double tapping nuke sites, and then flattening Pickaxe Mountain, where the intel says they could dash and stash their uranium. We're already seeing the pieces move. Trump told Israel to clear the runway. We're sending in dozens of refueling planes to keep our bombers in the air. You don't move that much hardware unless you're planning to use it. We also have more than 2,000 Marines trained in water landings right on Iran's doorstep, the 11th Marine Expeditionary Unit. Trump still hasn't pulled the trigger. A ground assault would be a serious escalation, but the mullahs cannot control the strait.
Isolating the Straits of Hormuz was always part of the plan. So that's why you see bridges being destroyed, because we don't want them to come in and be able to reinforce logistically and begin to recover the capabilities that we're taking away from them. For Iran, the Straits of Hormuz is a strategic asset. They are willing to fight us for it, and we have got to take it away from them and prevent them from ever getting it back under their control again.
All right, let me actually explain something, guys. Something to about Bandar Abbas. Okay, Bandar Abbas is important for multiple reasons. First of all, a lot of the military commands and coordination and all the attacks that come at the Strait of Hormuz, at the commercial ships going through the Strait of Hormuz, and the entire IRGC, command center, all of it comes from Bandar Abbas, right?
Military infrastructure?
The military infrastructure. So if you are basically trying to free the Strait of Hormuz, basically open the Strait of Hormuz, the more you hit Bandar Abbas, the more you're basically hitting the heart of the military infrastructure of the IRGC Navy. And it will make it very difficult for them to coordinate and plan things and command things. And a lot of their military assets there are there as well, right? So for opening the Strait of Hormuz, Bandar Abbas, hitting Bandar Abbas is key. But beyond that, it's also Bandar Abbas is the main port in Iran where everything comes through. So basically, not just hitting Bandar Abbas, but also making imports, exports impossible from Bandar Abbas, especially if you hit the bridges, that will economically suffocate the Islamic Republic as well.
So also civilian infrastructure.
Yes, I mean the access to Bandar Abbas is important for all of Iran's economy. It's kind of like the country's mouth because things come through there. Like if it, so basically you're shutting things coming in, and going out actually. So it's difficult. It's difficult for them to be able to economically survive if they can't control Bandar Abbas. But beyond that, hitting the bridges means that they can't, do import export out of Bandar Abbas to the rest of the country. But also they can't militarily. They're also going to be a lot less mobile, and they're not going to be able to move their military assets as effectively as before. So the thing is that what the Americans are doing right now is so surgical and is so strategic and so devastating to the Islamic Republic that I don't even it's possible, I'm not saying what's going to happen, but it's possible to do this without any ground operation of Marines on the ground. Like you might not even, like, you are going to be able to completely suffocate the Islamic Republic with the blockade on, with all of this damage to the military infrastructure of the Islamic Republic in Bandar Abbas and Chabahar and Qeshmailan and Sirik and everywhere else, with taking out the bridges. This is going to be obviously devastating to the conditions that the Iranian people are in. It also is going to put it also is good enough to completely paralyze the Islamic Republic if they keep going this way. I mean, so if I'm the Americans, I have to choose between getting this done faster by putting American troops on the ground, and not hitting the infrastructure for the sake of keeping the infrastructure like less, or hitting the infrastructure more. I mean, they're already hitting the infrastructure a lot, but they could de-escalate this to huge other higher levels and just do that and spare and basically protect the American soldiers by just hitting the infrastructure. And based on, if I'm an American politician, I would do that because I know back at home the Americans obviously care more about the American soldiers' lives. So that's what I would focus on. But again, I know also that people will say, like, no, I mean, the American soldiers are there to be deployed. That's what their purpose is. Yeah, for sure. But obviously, if they could do this without doing that, because that would be difficult. That would be more difficult, more complicated. I mean, every time I say it's difficult, guys, I know American military is very capable, but I'm saying relative to other methods, it is possible. I'm not saying they're going to do this, but you do see some people now are talking about the option of just keep doing what they're doing here. And remember, the southern Iran is how everything gets to the rest of the Iran. So people are like, oh, we want more attacks on other places. Yeah, we do. But if the Americans manage to just destroy enough infrastructure and military capability of the Islamic Republic in southern Iran, the rest of the Islamic Republic will fall and will be completely paralyzed. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. I also just enjoy him. He's very sassy. I started a comment there. He's sassy and he puts it into context. Like one thing he said was burning bridges. He didn't say striking bridges. He said burning bridges. When you say burning bridges, that means we're not going to talk anymore. That usually means this relationship is over. So whenever you hear burning bridge, we burned that bridge long ago, that means we're not going back there, right? We can't go back because we burned that bridge. That's the context of, like, some of the stuff he says is very subtle. Some of it is right in your face. But I like the way he does his reports, and I agree with you. We do have options. We don't have to use them. The only thing that I would ramp up is hitting infrastructure, hitting equipment and infrastructure, and I would go the stuff they use against civilians too. Like I'd hit police stations. I'd hit like you don't want to hit the where they have the prisoners. You want to kind of be precise about it, right? But police cars, I would hit any equipment, buildings, especially buildings that have nothing to do with holding people. I would hit those. I would hit anything to do with the government, anything to do with the judiciary. Well, you showed in your bingo sheet like what's different people might want, right? What different factions might want to take out from our military to the Israeli military to the civilians under IRGC occupation. I'd like to see everyone that you pointed out there from those three aspects gone. But I think this is good.
Really good. We got another comment that I saw saying, did he just say gay Ayatollah? Yep, he does. He says that all the time. That's how he refers to Mustafa all the time, which I love, by the way. Yes.
It's nice.
Yeah. Veteran Hoffman with a super chat. Thank you so much, Veteran Hoffman. And again, thank you for your service. Saying the Iranian people themselves have said they don't want US nor Israeli boots on the ground. Yeah, that's their revolution. Can we please just respect that and stop requesting that we do it anyway? I mean, we're not requesting. We're trying to figure out what the Americans are doing. I'm pretty sure whatever the Americans are, they themselves have access to a lot of good information, and they're going to do cost benefit analysis and come up with the best method of doing this. So when me and Monkey are talking about like potential ground operation, we're just we're analyzing whether or not that's going to happen. But yeah, there's no request here, and I haven't seen any requests anywhere else. I mean, who's requesting this? I don't know. I haven't seen Iranian people request
I would
this.
add to that I have also not seen anyone like, don't you dare step in here and help us. Don't you like, it's one of those things that's like, we're not asking you to sacrifice yourself. It's not like we're going to be really angry if you put one foot in here. That's not the message I'm getting either. What I'm getting is like we don't want you to, we're not asking your population to put yourselves at risk. If we have the means, we will take care of it. I'm also not seeing like an animosity towards an operation going down by us, because there is a difference between don't you dare come in and look, I'm not asking you to come over. You come over, that's okay. Just be respectful of everything. And like I'm trying to put this in a house visit terms, which is maybe not appropriate, but there's also not an animosity. I would put those two things out there. Not asking for us to make that sacrifice, but I don't think they would be enraged by it, especially if it's a small operation.
Hold on. Yes, actually, you're so right, and I have something to show. So there is American Iranian veteran that was on social media giving Iranian people advice on what to do in case there are American soldiers come into Iran, right? So this is an Iranian American who used to serve in the U.S. military. Let me see what advice he has. Let me go back here.
با سربازهای آمریکایی برخورد کردید یا سربازهای خارجی به هر شکل، یک سری بایدها و نبایدها وجود دارد.
So he's saying to the Iranians inside Iran, if Americans do come into Iran, here are the things to do and the things not to do if you see American soldiers coming into Iran.
داره.
So he's preparing the Iranian people.
که همینجا به شما میگیم و خیلی میتونه مهم باشه. سربازهای آمریکایی ممکنه از تفنگداران دریایی یا مارین کور باشن، نیروهای آرمی باشن.
So he's saying the soldiers that you see, they might be Marine they might be the army
یا نیروهای ویژه که خودشون میتونه
or special units
دلتا فورس، نیوی
like Delta Force or Navy
سیل
SEAls
یا نایت استراکرز باشن.
or Stalkers, yeah, Night Strikers. I don't know what that is.
اینا
Night
یونیفرم
Stalkers is the ones that got
نمیخوایم
blue.
وارد این بحث بشیم. مهم نیست کدوم یک از اینها هستن.
Like it doesn't matter which one of these are we're talking about. That's not important. But
هر کدوم که باشن شرایط برخورد به یک شکل خواهد بود.
like no matter who they are, which one of these they are, the conditions of how you respond to them when you see them is the same.
قبل از هر چیز اگر سربازا رو دیدید آرامش خودتون رو حفظ کنید.
So before anything else, if you see American soldiers in Iran, first make sure you're calm. By the way, guys, for people who are just tuning in, this is an advice for the Iranian people on what to do in case American soldiers are deployed inside Iran. So you say first and foremost, keep your calm.
اونا اینجا نیستن که به شما آسیبی برسونن.
They're not there to harm you.
اما یادتون باشه وظیفه هر سرباز در هر زمان اول محافظت از خودش، دوم محافظت از همرزمانش و
So like, but however, remember that if every soldier's the responsibility of every soldier, their duty is first to protect themselves, two to protect their fellow soldiers,
سوم پایبندی به کنوانسیون ژنو و
third is to abide by the Geneva Convention,
محافظت از غیر نظامیانه.
and to protect civilians, unarmed people.
بنابراین آرامش خودتون رو حفظ کنید.
So that means that you need to keep calm.
به سمت اونها نرید.
Don't walk towards them. Don't go towards them.
گوشی موبایل خودتون رو در نیارید. در واقع
don't take out your phone.
اصلا دستتون رو به سمت جیبتون نبرید.
In fact, don't take your hands towards your pockets.
به هیچ عنوان.
Never do that. Don't take your hands towards your pockets.
فوراً دستای خودتون رو بالا ببرید.
Keep your hands up.
جایی نگه دارید که بتونن دستتون رو ببینن.
Keep your hands in a position where they can see where your hands are.
هیچ حرکت ناگهانی انجام ندید.
Don't make any sudden movements.
شروع به دویدن نکنید. چه به
Don't start running.
سمت اونها و چه خلاف جهت سعی کنید.
Don't run towards them. Don't run away from them.
فرار کنید. این کارها میتونه کشنده باشه.
These type of behavior could be deadly.
پس میستیم دستامون رو در حالتی قرار میدیم
So you stay where you are, you put your hands where they can see your
که
hands,
بتونن ببیننش، ترجیحاً بالای سرمون،
preferably above your head,
و منتظر میمونیم تا اونها به ما نزدیک بشن.
and you would just stay there and wait for them to come to you.
در 99% موارد اگر سر راهشون نباشید از شما عبور میکنن و حتی سمت شما نمیان.
In 99% of the times, as long as you're not in their way, they will just pass by and they will not come towards you.
اگر اتفاق بیفته و به سمت شما بیان، مطمئناً شما قرار هست با یک سرباز آمریکایی صحبت بکنید که زبان فارسی رو صحبت میکنه و با فرهنگ ما هم آشنایی داره.
If one of them starts moving towards you, what's happening is one of them who knows how to speak Persian and understands Iranian culture is about to come talk to you if you see one of them coming towards you.
یکی از MOS ها یا Military Occupational Specialty ها کدهای شغلی که در ارتش هست.
Like there are some of them who have military operational what?
Military Occupational Specialty ها
military occupational specialties. One of them is that
کدهای شغلی که در ارتش هست، مشخصا در آرمی civilian affairs هست.
Yeah, so some of them are going to be experts specialty in civilian affairs.
این افراد با پچ های بنفش رنگی که روی لباسشون هست
So you're saying these people will have a purple marking on their clothes that shows them that they're experts in civilian affairs.
شناخته میشن. اینا افرادی هستن که یا اصالتا ایرانی هستن یا یکی از کشورهای فارسی زبون اطراف یا آمریکایی‌هایی هستن که به طور دقیق روی فرهنگ فارسی، فرهنگ ایرانی و زبان فارسی تحقیق کردن و به زبان و فرهنگ مسلط هستن.
So these will be the special forces who are either originally Iranian or from another country that speaks Persian, or maybe an American that has studied the Persian language and also studied the Persian Iranian civilization and so Iranian culture. Who understands Iranian culture, who are experts in this field.
بنابراین نگران نباشید.
So don't be afraid. Don't be worried.
اجازه بدید نزدیک شن به شما و اجازه بدید اونها شروع به صحبت کردن بکنن.
Allow them to come to you and allow them to speak to you. Allow them to start speaking to you.
وقتی سوالی از شما میپرسن شما میتونید انتخاب کنید که سوال رو جواب بدید یا جواب ندید. مشکلی نیست.
When they ask you a question, you can make the decision to answer it or not answer it. There's no problem. Like if you don't want to answer it, you don't have to answer it, basically.
اگر تصمیم گرفتید بنا به هر dلیل به اون سوال جواب ندید یا جواب رو نمیدونستید، به سادگی بگید نمیدونم.
So if you decide that you don't want to answer or you don't know the answer to the question, you could just say I don't know.
و هیچ مسئله‌ای برای شما پیش نمیاد.
And nothing will happen to you. If you don't answer the question, nothing will happen to you.
در پایان صحبت‌ها ممکنه با استفاده از دستبندهای پلاستیکی یا زیپلاک دست شما رو موقتاً ببندن. این فقط برای اینه که مطمئن بشن مشکل یا خطری برای خودشون و شما پیش نمیاد.
Like it's possible like in some situations that they might ziplock your hand at the end of the conversation. That's only so that nothing happens to them or to you.
و اگر به شما گفتن کاری رو انجام بدید، مثلا به نقطه خاصی برید و اونجا منتظر بمونید، به نقطه خاصی برید و اونجا بایستید تا اونا عبور کنن، همون کار رو با آرامش انجام بدید.
If they ask you to go to a certain location and wait there until they're gone, just do what they're asking you and keep calm.
مطمئن باشید خطری برای شما پیش نمیاد. خطری
be sure, be certain that no danger you're not in danger.
شما رو تهدید نمیکنه تا وقتی که اون اشتباهاتی که به شما گفتم رو انجام نداده باشید.
As long as you don't make the mistakes that I told you, you're not facing any danger. Monkey, why are you angry?
Oh, I was talking to someone in the chat. I was impressed by this video because of his knowledge. He put like some of the units that have 2 lightning bolts. That tends to be closer to civilian, and 3 bolts tend to be like more special force. But 3 is like more special forces. But 2 lightning bolts, that's like also like very specific. Like I had one of those guys when I was in AIT when I was taking my MOS, and I was like, "What is this? How do you have the you don't have the 3 lightning bolts, but this is the patch?" And they explained it to me. Like this was like eons ago, but I am impressed by this video. This is a very knowledgeable person.
Yeah. So but this is so. This was going viral on Iranian social media, which is good. So
after that, he's going to pass to the one with 2 lightning bolts on the right arm. There's a person that has it in a little bit before, maybe a little bit after, like right after that. No, it was a different guy. I don't know if you're going to be able to find it, but I saw that and I was like, oh my God, he found like the exact people that would do this thing.
Yeah. But this is good. This is a good way to prepare the Iranian people just in case there is some ground operations.
Look, right? The only thing I'll say is you don't have to have them fully up. You just could have them like palms open towards them at the chest level.
Yeah, but he said preferably. He didn't say it's required. He says preferably.
I know, but some people get tired. You know how it is. But you don't want to be like so scared of having your I don't want them to be afraid. Just keep them in. As long as you're showing your palms, that's pretty much universal sign of I'm not trying to be a danger.
Okay. All right. So let's go back to the military operations that happened in the past 24 hours. So we saw a lot of bridges being taken out. So now we see that in Bandar Abbas, the trucks are going using the river bed so that they could actually go through the river where the bridge used to be. Let me show you what that looks like.
سر پل کوهستان هستیم که دیروز تو محور بندر عباس لارستان مورد ثابت قرار گرفت. بیشترین بزان خودشون بیشترین ضربه رو زدن برای محورهای مواصلاتی از بین بره. خدا رو شکر صف رو میبینید هم رفت و آمد برقراره.
So you see the bridge is destroyed, but they're still going through. Does that mean the destruction of the bridge is not as effective? But let me keep playing.
برای محورهای مواصلاتی از بین بره. خدا رو شکر صف رو میبینید هم رفت و آمد برقراره. اینم محل اصابت. آدم وقتی این صحنه رو میبینه شاید ناراحت بشه زیر ساختش رو دارن میزنن، ولی حقیقتا یادش میاد که این پل رو خودمون ساختیم، جاده ها رو خودمون کشیدیم. خیلی از جایی که امروز داریم رد میشیم با دست همین مردم و مهندسای ساخته شده. اگه یه پل از بین بره دوباره ساخته میشه، چون سازندش خودمون میسازیمش.
So this guy is basically saying there's no problem. We will rebuild the bridge. We already built the bridge. We could rebuild it again. And also there's no problem. Look, the truckers are going through anyways, using the riverbed. Which, by the way, this actually kind of suggests like we have bigger problems than the bridge. We're dealing with a lot of drought. The fact that you could just go through the river shows that we have more fundamental problems than even the bridge being destroyed in Iran. Why is the river empty? Like that also.
I have a question. Like beyond that truck, under where that truck is this like an elevated place that has a lot of dirt, and part of that dirt is like maybe there's pipes underneath this dirt and that's where the water goes, or is it just absolutely dry? You see in the distance there, like look more toward the distance, go back to like a first third, at the end of the first third, about there. You see in the distance there, you see how it seems like there's like it's an elevated position where that bright section is. Does that go down?
Yeah, they just moved the dirt around here to just make a road. It's not a pipe thing. It's just that they just made a road. They just
because
made
if you look at the height here and you look down where the hole is, it looks a lot deeper.
No, this was just a river before. Okay, this was filled with water. This is all just water. Okay, so this was just a river going up and down.
Let me see the depth of the hole. How deep does it go?
It doesn't. Let's just focus on the bridge. Okay, never mind. It's okay. I think we're missing the point here. Okay,
I have a point. I do have a point.
Okay,
just hear me out. Like it is a possibility that if this is an elevated position where they put a bridge, because sometimes if you know how they build bridges, sometimes there's a wide area that has dirt. It has big, huge pipes under it, right? But at the top there is like a metal structure, right? If you hit the whole the pipe system, you're gonna destroy the bridge. All right. Anybody in the chat that knows about constructions know what I'm talking about.
Okay. Maybe that's true. Okay, but what we do know is that this was a bridge that was hit for reducing traffic by the Islamic Republic. Okay, so that's what we know. All right, let's go to the next video. So U.S. strikes completely destroy an IRGC depot in Rask. I think Rash, maybe. I don't know. No, Rask. Where is Rask? I don't know what it is. Rash is completely somewhere different. Let me see. City, Iran. Where that is. Rask is a city in southern Sistan, Baluchistan. Okay, so this is in Sistan, Baluchistan province. So now reports of renewed U.S. strikes on Bandar Abbas. So let's look at this destruction over here. Interesting. The song is saying Baluchistan too. The song was like Baluchistan. So this is the Baluchistan province, and that's the destruction over there. Let me see. There's more destruction over here.
That's a clever way to give a location without using your voice.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, right. Let me listen to the song. It says Baluchistan. Yeah, I mean, this does say Rusk over here, so we know what city this is. something Baluchistan. I don't know.
But I know what Balochistan is, but I wouldn't be able to read that.
Yes, true. All right, look at this explosion. Where is this? Yeah. Actually, I don't know if this is recent. I don't trust this guy. This might be old. He might be like because he cut the first part of the video where it tells you where this is. This might be from Operation Epic Fury. If yeah, this guy, I don't know. This might be from Operation Epic Fury, but he's posting it to Like Farm. So I don't know. I don't trust this guy. I don't trust it. I know this one is. I trust this guy. Pete Hexit just posted this. I mean, we saw this yesterday, but I love Pete Hexit posting it. This was in Chabahar, I think. This was in Chabahar, and yeah, he already posted these. These were amazing. We already looked at that yesterday. But Chabahar is very important, guys. Chabahar is in the southeast of Iran, and if there is any ground operations, it might make sense to do it from there because it's so far away from the IRGC missile launchers and drones and all of the military infrastructure, the main basis of the military infrastructure of the Islamic Republic. So some attacks on Chabahar is possibly not, I'm not saying it's likely, preparing Chabahar for that area to be where the ground operations start. Why do you keep getting angry and happy, Monkey? Like I'm confused.
I have a lot of feelings.
Okay. I think you're mixing, but okay, so this one I know for sure. This one I know for sure is new. And this is Kuwait.
I'm kind of impressed by like the army has some great war fighters, but it also has some great photographers. You gotta like they got that spiritual warfare too. They lift people's spirit up with this cameragraphy. They got some artistry there, like that picture with the flag in the background with them taking over that tank. That was very nice. This one's very nice too.
Yes, this was taken by somebody local. Guys, this is a tower in Chabahar, and this was right at the moment that it was collapsing.
That's a good picture. But did you see the one with the flag? I really like that one.
Yes, this one basically it means that they're blinding the Islamic Republic in the southeast area. This is the one that Monkey is talking about. This is a great picture.
That's what I'm talking about right there.
Yes, that looks beautiful. Yes. And then we had Kuwait was being struck heavily. So we saw some attacks on the water desalination by the Islamic Republic, which is going to escalate all of this to a whole new level compared to before. But we also just saw an Iranian ballistic missile hit the Kuwaiti Academy of Security. So look at this. This just happened. Yeah, so this is a whole new level of escalation. Interesting. Oh, here's what Iranians are posting. They're like, look at this. The Iranians are saying freedom starts from the south. So see, some Iranians are celebrating this as a way to bring freedom to the rest of Iran. And they're saying it starts from the south. Honestly, if you get that entire area, then this is where all the revenue comes from anyways. Like the Islamic Republic might be headquartered in Tehran, but if you take this area, if this area becomes liberated, then this area will rule because all the revenue comes from this area. Like Tehran will have nothing if it doesn't have this area. So if we win it, like a lot of, yeah, exactly. Because a lot of people think like the only option is to liberate Tehran, and I see why they think that. Like I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm not saying that's not an option, but honestly, if you liberate southern Iran, you have liberated Iran, because the rest cannot survive without southern Iran. Isn't that a beautiful picture, by the way?
Look, I think it's not just a picture; it's a possibility.
Yes, I love it though. It looks gorgeous. I'm just looking at it because I want it to become true. I'm just looking at it. Want it to be true. Anyways, let's look at here. Let's see this update over here.
So what the Iranians said is, if you go and take out our power plants, we're going to tell the Houthis to shut down the portion of the Red Sea, which is roughly 7% of global energy. With General Keane, who knows the military aspects, he said, we almost finished them off last year. If they try this year, we will finish them forever. So they're the renegade group located in Yemen that creates havoc with Saudi Arabia and and Israel with the long range.
And Iran says they told the Houthi terrorists to prepare to close that critical Red Sea gateway if the United States attacks the power infrastructure.
So we're winning this right now. We just got to keep our feet on the gas. Meanwhile, a growing number of Democrats are joining more radical parts of the party, pushing anti-Israel agenda, anti-Semitic stuff as well. And the trend has moderates on high alert.
So
yeah, I think you already covered General Kane's comments yesterday on your show.
I covered some of these comments. I also covered comments from a general or like someone high in the military who was also born and raised in Iran. And he had some interesting comments about what the IRGC is and why certain things have to be done so that they lose control of the government.
I kind of want to see what General Kane said. I don't know if I could find it. Oh, let me see if I could. This is it. This might be talking about the bridges. Here, let's play this. The bridges here.
States turning up the pressure on Iran, unleashing devastating strikes on bridges and other key infrastructure, with new video revealing the damage near the Strait of Hormuz. As America's campaign to choke off Iran's main port and disrupt its supply lines continues. Well, I'm John Roberts in Washington. Sandra, good to see you back again.
Thanks, John. Good to be back with you. I'm Sandra Smith in New York. This is America Report. So reports this hour say parts of Iran are being asked to conserve power, with some residents told to turn off their air conditioners as U.S. strikes strain the electrical grid there. And shipping through the Strait of Hormuz has fallen to a 3-week low now. This says oil prices climb back above that $80 a barrel mark.
Retired U.S. Air Force General Charles Wald joins us in just moments with his thoughts.
Yeah, looking forward to that. But first, let's get to our senior correspondent, Mike Tobin. He's got the latest out of Tel Aviv for us at this hour. Hello, Mike.
Hi there, Sandra. The blockade is being enforced. 3 ships, as of this morning, had been turned back. 1 disabled and 1 boarded by U.S. Marines. This as now for the 6 nights in a row, we have seen the intensity of the airstrikes. Now, Iran, as you know, has been firing at its neighbors. For the first time, they say they fired.
You know, I was on the Persian channel right before I come here, guys. I have another channel, which is my audience there is 80% inside Iran. And so many people in the chat were saying, I'm like, it's so hot. We have no power. And it's like, we're sitting like the heat is unbearable. So because of all of these military operations and I don't know, the lack of fuel or stuff like that, I don't know, but there's more power outages. So everybody is experiencing a couple of hours of power outages every day. I think it's worse in southern Iran right now. And it's just really, really hot. And they just, when the power goes out, they're just like they're sitting in unbearable heat. So the chat on my Persian channel was like, like it's so hot here. We're dying from heat here. Like it was crazy. And like, it's interesting because they have internet and they're on YouTube talking in the chat. But yeah, it was really hot. So that's what they're experiencing right now.
Now, I sent you a video that I think you might like because this guy, he is a veteran, a U.S. veteran, but he lived in Iran, and he knows the language. He lived there for a long time. I thought you might like it if you want to put it in the repertoire.
Okay, sounds good. I will do that. But let's finish this one. I'll do that.
into Syria. Iranian media says the target was a U.S. base that's very near the Iraq and Jordanian borders. The Iranian media has planted things in social media indicating that U.S. personnel had been injured or even taken prisoner. The U.S. says none of that is true. Sandra, back
Got
to
it,
you.
Mike.
I mean, nobody believes that in Iran anymore. They do that all the time. No, not even the pro-regime people believe that shit anymore. What are you talking about? Like, it's crazy.
With the update out of Tel Aviv for us. Mike, thanks. John?
All right, Sandra, let's bring in retired four-star Air Force General Charles Wald, former Deputy Commander of U.S. European Command. He served more than 35 years in the military and flew combat missions over the Middle East, so he is very familiar with the territory and very familiar with what's going on there now. General, here's what the president said yesterday about where we are with Iran. Listen to this.
We are likewise winning big in Iran, and you will see the fruits of that labor very, very shortly.
So we're targeting roads and bridges in and around Bandar Abbas. We took down that observation tower, control tower, whatever you want to call it, in Chabahar. But to what end? I mean, every time Iran comes to
Why are they saying Chabahar? I think they have covered Israel. They covered. Hold on, let me finish. I think they covered Israel so much that they see CH and they think it's Cha, and that's why they think it's the same thing in Persian. It's Chabahar.
Look, Americans have these things they do when they see a word and they know how letters work. They know you follow the sound of the letter with the sound of the following letter, but they can't do it. They got to look at the whole word. I'm just sound it out. Cha cha cha.
Yeah. I think they realize I think this is what it is. CH in Hebrew sounds like Cha, so they think like, oh, must be the same thing over here. That's what I think that's happening. Yeah, see the Israelis in the chat are saying, yeah, okay. That's what I think is. They've been covering Israel so much.
the table, they just fake like they're involved in negotiations and then continue with their bad behavior.
No, you're right, John. I mean, I think the faking is over. We'll see what happens, but I would hold the line on this particular restart of attacking Iranian targets, particularly the ones that haven't traditionally been struck. They've usually been missile sites or sometimes drones, potentially boats. I think it's time to really start cutting off the Iranians from the ability to sustain military operations, particularly in the western side of Iran. I applaud the targeting. I think it's the right thing to do. And there's no doubt about it. These are military valid targets.
So U.S. ground forces were involved for what I believe was the very first time a verification boarding of a tanker. It goes by the name of Wen Yao in the Gulf of Oman. We've got some video of that. Well, it's not video, actually. It's still photographs of the Marines there on board that tanker. Some military analysts believe that if you wanted to shut down attacks in the Strait of Hormuz, the easiest thing to do would be to put a ground force of some size in at Bandar Abbas, which is difficult to resupply because it's a long way away. And now CENTCOM has bombed out the bridges. And if you took Bandar Abbas, that would pretty much shut down the IRGC's ability to threaten the Strait of Hormuz. What do you think of that idea?
And honestly, to do much else.
We've got really strong professional military planners in CENTCOM, led by Brad Cooper, the commander. But my personal feeling is we don't need to do that. I don't think we should. We've learned lessons in the past where after Afghanistan, for example, after we defeated the Taliban, we decided to invade Afghanistan. That was a mistake. I don't think we need to do that here, and we shouldn't.
Yeah, I remember what happened in Iraq as well when we disbanded the military and then tried to reconstitute it. It was something of a mess. But the IRGC general, they have no desire to negotiate, and they have no compunction to just try to mess things up, not just with the United States vis-a-vis Iran, but everywhere in the region.
Yeah, no, I think you hit the nail on the head. They are not collaborating.
National Security Advisor for the Middle East, Victoria Coates, said this about how degraded Iran's military capabilities become.
What they understand is force. What they understand is the degradation of their ability to do really anything at this point. Our capabilities keep getting stronger. Our options keep getting broader. Theirs get smaller and smaller.
Yeah, this is what people have to realize. I know people are in a rush to see this over. And I know it's not happening at the speed that most people want it to, but it is going in our direction. Like, you have to accept that. Like, just because it's not happening at the speed that we want it to, it doesn't mean that we're not getting closer to our goal. The Islamic Republic is getting weaker and weaker. United States is stronger. The opposition, the Israelis are stronger. The Iranian people's opposition against the Islamic Republic is getting stronger. Everything is moving in the right direction. This is more of a marathon rather than a sprint, but everything is moving in the right direction.
Anything at this point. Our capabilities keep getting stronger. Our options keep getting broader. Theirs get smaller and smaller. They're down to now pot shots at our partners in the region.
At what point, General, do you think the IRGC becomes so ineffective that it pretty much collapses of its own weight and then potentially opens up the possibility for some sort of organic regime change throughout Iran?
Nice. Thank you.
It's tough to estimate. I think probably CENTCOM has a pretty good clue of what that limitation is. It's probably going to have to go beyond that for the IRGC to actually recognize it and give up. They're not going to give up easy. There isn't any give up and let's negotiate after this starts happening to them. So they're in a fight for their life, not just with the U.S., but with their own population. So I think it's going to take a while. I know people are impatient, but I think we need to stick with it until they basically collapse from within.
All right. Well, we'll continue to watch what CENTCOM does as it prosecutes this conflict. General Wald, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
All right. Let me respond to some super chats.
Can I add to something to what you were saying earlier?
Yes.
I think we mistake Americans wanting a victory for Americans wanting a change. Like that's a mistake. Like, don't think that Americans, we have to completely win the war before the midterms. No. What you have to do is have demonstrable gains and stability. If you do that before the midterms, which would include this campaign of airstrikes, you would gain the support of the center right, and the disillusioned left might not be so inclined to vote for a change if everything kind of stabilizes and there's an uptick in activity, military activity, and kinetic activity, as we like to say, that signifies change. So don't be like, oh my God, the Americans, if they don't totally win, they're going to lose the midterms. No. What we want is change, because this tit for tat thing is what is kind of angering Americans. And if they see like there's like a big change, that might say, okay, you know what? Things changed. We have things going different. Same thing happened in Venezuela. Like, we don't have a different regime in Venezuela. They'll see work for Maduro. What we have is stability until their next election. So what the Americans want is not this tit for tat anymore. They want like a hard strike and then some stability. And then we get past the midterms. And after that, we see how it goes. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't want the Iranians to be disillusioned about the goals of the conservative Americans of being too lofty. Like, there are things that we would see as acceptable. Like, speaking for as many as I can from my perspective.
Right. So the next super chat that I went and found it. So I'm your sensei. He gave us a super chat saying, have you guys seen the Marco Rubio warning Congress 10-year-old video about the threat, Iran using time to build an enormous artillery of missiles? So it's interesting because when I looked for the video that you're talking about, the first account that I saw was sharing it was an Iranian account with the here's what he said. Here's a caption saying, in 2015, Rubio warned that Iran would use the lifting of sanctions to bolster its military capabilities, fund proxy forces, and advance its nuclear program. By 2026, many of his warnings had come true. Weak agreements have deadly consequences. Guys, Marco Rubio, this video, which I'm going to play, he said this before all of this happened. And everything he said came true exactly how he said it, which also another proof that Marco Rubio knows Iran, knows the Islamic Republic, and knows the Middle East. Watch this video. Here, let me play this.
Iran will immediately use the money that it's receiving in sanctions relief to begin to build up its conventional capabilities. It will establish the most dominant military power in the region outside of the United States, and it will raise the price of us operating in the region. They're going to build anti-access capabilities, rockets capable of destroying our aircraft carriers and ships. Continue to build these swift boats that are able to come on us, these fast boats that are able to swarm our naval assets. And they'll make it harder and harder for U.S. troops to be in the region. They'll also work with other terrorist groups in the region to target American servicemen and women. And they may or may not deny that they're involved, but they will target us and raise the price of our presence in the Middle East until they hope to completely pull us out of that region.
This was, guys, I know this sounds like obvious now, but please understand that when he said this was before so much has happened, before so much of this had happened. Like, this is so impressive that things happen exactly like he said it. This is 2015. It's crazy how he saw all of this happening. This man knows exactly what he's talking about. Not even Iranian analysts predicted exactly the way Rubio predicted this. I love this guy. So good at what he does.
He
All right, we
barely
got
ages too. Did you see that?
Yeah, true. That's a good point, actually. You're right.
He looks the same. How does he stay so young? Oh, because the fountain of youth is in Florida.
Ooh, yeah, that makes sense. You got it. All right, we got another super chat by Don saying Trump keeps saying this is almost over to American people. So do you think they will actually put boots on the ground? Okay, I'll let Monkey respond to this while I go to the washroom. I'll be right back. Monkey, you respond to this.
Okay, so the term boots on the ground is kind of ambiguous, right? Some Americans will say one boot on the ground, not even two, just one of them on the ground is too many. Other Americans will say, look, boots on the ground means a large deployment that's going to stay. Are we going house by house, town by town? Are we doing what we did in Fallujah? Are we having more of that? I think that's the level that we don't want. I think we don't want 100,000 troops over there. I think that's what we don't want. Now, if we have a couple of Marine contingency, go over there, take care of some of these places, maybe vet some people to operate these places, you know, and have a defensive force of people that, I don't know, defect from the Artesh that we can vet that are loyal to, you know, not the IRGC, you know, maybe some people that want a transitional power to come for a transitional government. Like, that's a different situation. So you have to understand what boots on the ground means, and it does mean different things to different people. Like from an American standpoint, a Marine battalion is boots on the ground. If you have these 2,000 people, you know, get off the boat and go in, that's boots on the ground. For other people, well, that's not an invasion force. That's barely a police operation. We do that in hurricanes. You understand what I'm saying? So you know, just to pass out food and make sure nobody is looting. So there is different levels, and just because I tell you this is boots on the ground and that's not boots on the ground, there's going to be 20 people with 20 opinions of what is boots on the ground.
Okay, so basically, based on the different definitions, let's think about the likelihood of each. Okay, so boots on the ground, special ops, limited, small level, very small level. I think very likely that we will see that. Very likely. So that's minimum. Medium level, maybe boots on the ground at the level where they go take an island or a southern city. Okay, the possibility of that, I don't know. Okay, I don't know. The possibility of boots on the ground at the level of a huge ground invasion, like we saw with Saddam 20 years ago, very unlikely. Okay, so special operations, very small level, very likely at some point, in my opinion. Iraq level, boots on the ground, ground invasion, where you go and basically take over Iran, very unlikely. That middle part, which is taking an island, like tens of thousands, not hundreds of thousands, but tens of, like maybe 10,000. I don't know how much it takes, but some cities, some islands. That one is hard to tell how likely that is. But do you agree, Monkey, that special ops to a very small number at some point it probably will happen, and ground invasion like Iraq, very unlikely. Do you agree with those two?
Look, I think the pictures that were taken by the army on that boat is just like setting the ground for that. Like, yeah, we're gonna have some ops. We're getting close. Look, we're having an op on a boat, real
Right.
close. Like, we're just setting the ground for that. I think that's unavoidable.
Right, right. So no, but do you agree with the three? First of all, I categorize it in three levels, and I think that's a good way of thinking about it. Right. I think these are the categories that I put it in, and it's very helpful. And I think the major ground invasion like Iraq, very unlikely. I think that's a good assessment there. That's the right assessment. Special ops at a very small level. I think me saying that would happen at some point, that's the right estimation. And I think that I don't know, the skepticism on the middle one is also justified. I don't think there's a very good way of measuring the possibility of that, but it's obviously somewhere in between.
Well, the way I put it is like a Marine battalion on one of these boats is one of the, one way to measure it. So you can have a couple of those, right? So we're talking, let's guesstimate it, 3,000 to 5,000. That's possible. That's very possible, because that's like the minimum you need to take over a place. With, you're talking infrastructure, you're talking about the people that stay on the boat, you're talking about the people that are on the helicopters overhead, people that are manning equipment, people like, there's a lot of people that's not directly infantry that are involved, especially when you have like a boat like one of these marine island boats. That's a lot of people. That I see that as very possible, like 2 to 5. If we're talking 10, between 10 and 30,000, I see that as less likely, but maybe in the long term, like that could happen, but I don't see it happening, especially not before the midterms. Now, will we see 100,000? That's like the kind of deployment it took to take over big places. Like when we take over, we take over. I don't think that's happening.
Yeah. So you agree with me then?
Absolutely.
One thing thank you. So Don, one thing that you need to also always bring up every time somebody talks about boots on the ground is, when people are talking about boots on the ground, they're talking, like, as you mentioned, American boots on the ground. But we have to always remember the other side of this. We already have 90 million boots on the ground, a huge portion of them wanting to do whatever it takes to bring down the Islamic Republic, right? So if you want to escalate this and basically find the most cost-efficient way to destroy America's number one enemy, which is the Islamic Republic of Iran, use the boots on the ground that are already there, which are the Iranian people. You already have boots on the ground. You don't need to deploy boots on the ground in the hundreds of thousands, because you already have boots on the ground. And you could basically find a way to support the Iranian people in taking down their regime, their own occupiers, by just arming them. And that is the most cost-efficient way for the United States to get rid of its main enemy. So boots on the ground already there. It's the Iranian people who are ally of the United States. Rely on them, invest in them. That's how you get this done.
I can give you the best scenario, the ultimate best scenario, pie in the sky dream scenario that we would love. Let's say secretly, 20,000 Artesh are on our side, pledging loyalty, willing to wear body cams and show where they are and what they're doing, encrypted to the Americans the whole time, working with some people, command and controlling, telling them what to do, where to go, and have them liberate people, have some embedded forces. We embed ourselves into local forces with Green Berets, right? And some Deltas doing special ops with them, or, helping coordinate. That would be the dream scenario, because that way it's liberated by the Iranian people, and you have the Artesh kind of like redeem themselves, right? If there are a lot of them that pledged. I do remember at the beginning of this that a lot of them pledged loyalty, but you can't just do that before the time is right. So if that happens, if that switch flips, and we already have people that are vetted because they have all pledged their loyalty, we do get to watch what they're doing. They have like military body cams, so we can watch what they're doing, that they're not doing any massacres, they're not betraying, and we have, close air support, we have drones watching, and we start going in like that, that's a whole different ballgame, because then we do have a force that's up to 20, 30, 40,000 people of trained people that are vetted. That's a whole new ballgame. It does take a lot of equipment and a little bit of training, but if they're already trained militarily, it's a lot less training. It makes the time to deploy a lot shorter. Are they all good? No, I'm sure there's terrible Artesh people. But if you have some that are pledged and are sick of the IRGC, and even if they're opportunists, they see that the opportunity for Iran really comes in aligning with America, and fuck these mullahs and durkas. If that's the best opportunity, let them be opportunists, because the best opportunity for them is to side with America.
We got a question here. Gene is saying, why doesn't Israel arm them? I'm sure Israel would love to do something like that, but Israel would need the green light of United States, and it needs to also, Israel will do such operations as long as, in coordination with the Americans, and it has to be something that the Americans approve and would be interested in doing as well. But I'm sure Israel would love to do something like that, for sure.
And that, like what the scenario I just laid out, could be done in coordination with them. Like they could be part of that.
Yeah. Also, guys, here's the thing. For it to work, it also needs to be in coordination with Prince Reza Pahlavi and his team. So Israel and United States, in coordination with each other, were involved in arming the wrong people, and it didn't work. It backfired. All right. So hopefully now, because they were trying to arm their Kurdish separatists, and it didn't work out. And we knew it wouldn't work out. And now, hopefully, now that they tried that and see that didn't work, hopefully next time the Americans and Israelis are planning to arm people, Iranian people, anybody against the Islamic Republic, they go with the patriotic Iranian people, with the leadership of Princess Pahlavi and the coordination of Princess Pahlavi's team. That is the only way this will be successful. And we told that to everybody before, that this is the only way this is going to be successful. And so many people in our chat were like, no, Armin, they should go with the Kurdish separatist groups and stuff like that. And we're like, nope, that's not going to work. And then it's interesting because they tried it and it didn't work. So we were right about that. And we got another super chat, which is related to what we just said here. Comrade Shifty saying, any possibility for Trump to give Israel the green light to strike from the other side and actually surround the Islamic Republic in a ring of fire? Yeah, so I'm sure Israel is like waiting for that. They want to. They might be planning that right now as we speak, but I don't know. But Israel is really trying to get in on this fight, and this is the exact reason why the Islamic Republic is not striking Israel. The Islamic Republic has forgotten Israel even exists. Like they were like, oh, we will destroy Israel. We will do Israel. We will do this and that. And now they're so scared of Israel. They're terrified of Israel because of what they saw Israel is capable of during the 40-day war, and even before it. And they don't want to give Israel an excuse to get in. So the Islamic Republic's understanding right now is that the only thing holding Israel back right now is United States not giving them a green light. And they know that if they hit Israel with anything, then Israel will not be able to, like, nobody will be able to hold Israel back if they actually get attacked, because it would be an unreasonable request from Israel to not strike back when they already been struck by the Islamic Republic. So the Islamic Republic is not shooting any missiles or drones as Israel, because, and Israel, I'm pretty sure Israel actually wants that. Like, come on, tap me in, like give me, just, I dare you, I double dare you, just one drone, tiny drone, anything, just let me in on this fight. And I think the Islamic Republic thinks that if Israel just moves in, they're going to come out and Assad is basically take out so many of the top leadership that they missed during the 40-day war, and that's what they want to avoid doing. But what is the possibility of allowing? And I think that United States also has the Israel green light card as like a kind of a stick that they're holding above the Islamic Republic's head, and as soon as they give that green light, I think so many people within the Islamic Republic are going to die. So I don't know when they're going to use that, when they're going to use that green card? What do you think, Monkey? When do you think the United States is going to give that green card to Israel?
I think very soon.
Green light.
Very soon.
Green light. Green light. I mean, not green card. Very soon. Okay. How can you be more specific? Because I can't. You guys can
Okay.
tell I want this badly.
Yesterday.
Yes. Oh, yesterday.
Yesterday.
Oh, you say
like it's in the, I think it's in the plans.
It's in the plans. Okay.
Yeah, like it's more about I think it's about coordination now more than it is about permission. Like we're already clearing runways. They want to get in. So they're probably like, yo, you're going in. Let me help. Hey, what can I do for you? You do for me, I do for you. Can we get in on this? I think that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, hopefully. Guys, we haven't had, this is the Israelis' specialty when it comes to taking out top leadership. That's what they do the best. So I think if the United States gets really angry, then all they have to do is just make one phone call to the Israelis and be like, you're it. It's your turn now. Do what you do. Do what you do best. And they're like, Israel, like, finally. They're like, yes, thank you. And they're going to go in. But this time they have to get a lot done in a short amount of time, because Israelis, when things get really good, then United States might come in and be like, okay, stop. They're like, no. So I think that if they once they get in, it's like, guys, let's get so much of our list. Guys, let's go through our list fast before the Americans change their mind. Let's go and get all of this. Yes. Oh my God. And then, Sayed, thank you so much. Sayed gave us a super chat saying, just a reminder to touch the like button, people. Yes, touch it. Don't smash it. I think, guys, do not smash the like button, because it will damage your phone. Just, it works. You don't have to smash it. Just lightly touching it will also work. I don't know why so many YouTubers keep telling you to smash the like button. You could just lightly touch it. Just try it right now. Everybody try it and tell me if it works. Lightly touch the like button and see if it does anything. Okay? I don't know why people keep smashing it. It's
now on my channel, you can like it, touch it, twerk on it, you can hump it, you can lick it, you can do whatever you do to it as long as it gets pressed.
Yes, hump it. Hump the like. Oh my God. No, never mind. Thank you, Sayed. Thank you so much for the support.
I'm almost at 700. I'm like 5 away. If you guys want to subscribe, that would also be a great help.
Yes. Subscribe to the monkey. Let's go over here. This is the video you wanted to see. You said this is really good. Yeah, I know which guy you're talking about. Let's talking about the currency, but that's not the main thing you need to be looking at. You need to be looking at the liquidity of the cash that the IRGC, the US dollars that the IRGC has access to, because the currency, the IRGC's revenue is in US dollars, right? And the blockade and Operation Economic Fury and that, with Scotty B, those are the things that you need to be looking at when it comes to what does the IRGC has access to. The currency dropping is a side effect of all of that. It's not the main indicator. It's a side effect of that happening.
I would add to that it also is affected by, can people get it? Like if let's see, the currency is high or low, can you even get any money? That's also a factor to play into it, because even if it's low and you need a lot of it, if you can get none of it, that's also has a big effect. Like if people are not getting paid, that matters.
Yeah. The IRGC's revenue is in USD, and their main stuff that they pay externally to their militias are in USD as well. When it comes to paying its own soldiers inside Iran, the currency dropping helps the IRGC. It doesn't hurt the IRGC, because with the US dollars that they have in their hand, because they're internally, their cost is in the real. So the real dropping means that they could afford more stuff. If your revenue is in US dollar and your cost is in real, so when the real drops, that means that the IRGC could afford to do more things internally. Okay, so that doesn't hurt them; it helps them. Long term, it hurts them, because the currency dropping means that the Iranian people can afford less stuff, which is going to be a spark for the next uprising.
Bingo. That's where I was going.
Yes. On the right track. That is so true. Everything shows that we're on the right track. We just have to see the main barrier right now is the Democrats and their ability or lack of ability to stop President Trump. Everything is moving in the right direction. We just have to worry about, like, I don't know how because do you agree with that, Monkey? Like, I think the main obstacle that could get us off track is the Democrats.
This is why I say we don't need a full military victory, but this is the right track also for the home front. Having some big military victories right now and some stability within the straits or ramping up of oil production. If we ramp up oil so much in Alaska and Argentina and Venezuela, and there's two more places I can't remember that were specifically talked about, Canada and all of these places. If we can get Europe to open up their oil fields and start pumping hard, the stability through the midterms is and a visible difference in the military situation will cause this rare event of a party in power winning the midterms. It's a rare event. We have to push hard for it. We have to get everybody on board, get the vote out. That's what I've been talking on my channel. Get the vote out and understand what's going on with the vote. But it is a possibility. If we can get some good military, we're on the right track. That, long and short of it, we're on the right track. I think you're gonna love this video. 1 second, please.
Okay, Shauna just gave us a super chat saying, I've been gently touching the like button for months. It still gets there. Okay, good. Guys, we got confirmation from Shauna that you don't need to smash the like button. You could gently touch it. So it's okay. It's okay. Somebody try humping it and report to us in the chat if that works as well. Thank you. And thank you, Shauna.
Hope to see you on my channel one day soon.
Yes.
China drove down their intake by 20%. That's not a small thing.
Yeah,
that's a lot because China has a lot of intake. It's like a net importer, not exporter. So where are they getting it? Are they getting it from Russia? Is that why Russians don't have any gasoline? I mean, they're a giant refinery.
They had huge reserves.
They may have some reserves. And China's also going through like the 20 plagues. I think some Chinese Moses is going to come soon because they got so many plagues on them that something is happening. They're just having they're having lots of floods. They're having all kinds of natural disasters. Their buildings are falling apart. Their economy is falling apart. So I don't know what's going on, but they're driving down 20% is a lot. I don't know how much they intake, but I know that number is significant. He didn't bring it up for nothing. So yeah. I'd love your take on that.
This has been discussed a lot, and you're asking a good question because this has been devastating for the Islamic Republic because during that short window of opportunity that the Islamic Republic had when the blockade was removed and they were given sanctions waiver, then the Islamic Republic are like, ooh, this is so good, money, money, money. Let me go and sell my oil at full price to the whole world and China. This is it has been decades since I've had this opportunity to sell without sanctions and stuff, right? This was like a great opportunity, and then during that short window, there weren't that many buyers for three reasons. First, the market got flooded with oil, and there was an oversupply. Two, Saudi Arabia was undercutting the Islamic Republic, selling their oil at cheap, and then but third, China wasn't buying. China successfully managed to manage the massive, like not just 20%, up to 40% reduction in its crude oil intake. But what I've heard is that they did that by utilizing their reserves and cutting refinery production, but mostly by tapping into the reserves. So it's not like they were using much less. It's just that they had a huge reserve and they were just buying that. That's what their people say. They stabilized their domestic market by halting fuel exports as well. because they bring in oil and they create like they put it in the refinery and they export the fuel. So they stopped that so that they could manage their own domestic needs. So basically, they managed to do that. They in response, so they were prioritizing their own domestic needs. That's how they did it. But that
No
was
matter
really
how
bad
big your
for the
reserve is, it's a reserve. Like you gotta like either fill it up. Eventually they can't just keep pulling on that reserve. Time is not on their side.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know how much of that. Let me actually check how much of the reserve is left. Did they use most of it? I could also check that out for you guys to see if they could keep doing this in the next round of these military operations. So let me go through. Let me keep playing this. This is a beautiful map of ways to go around the Strait of Hormuz. Look at that. So
If you let it run a bit, it'll show you Yemen at the bottom. That where it says U.S. targeting, they'll take that off in a couple of seconds.
Well, ultimately, of course, but as you said, it's going to take time.
No.
More money.
There, you can see it better there.
Okay, well, I mostly I want to see this one because I want to see the pipes mostly, right?
Okay.
So the green is the green is the planned and proposed. The red is under construction. I don't know why I'm saying planned and proposed. This green was or this green one is already made. This is the east-west pipeline, and that green one over there is also already made in the UAE. So I think this is planned and proposed. What are you talking about? This one is already this exists. This is the east-west pipeline.
It might be an increase. I think we talked about an increase, so they might be increasing the output or having another one laid next to it.
Right. But look at the red one in Iraq. This is going to completely change the future of the dependency on the Strait of Hormuz. Well, not completely. It will never be able to completely replace the volume of oil that you could take through the Strait of Hormuz. But this is what one of many reasons why Iraq is so important is this pipeline they have planned here, which basically will connect the oil from the Persian Gulf to Europe and to the Mediterranean Sea and the rest of the world. You know, this is going to be devastating. You know, this is the whole Strait of Hormuz being a reliable leverage to use against the world. All of these plans will make that will make the Strait of Hormuz much less effective as a pressure point. So it's good. The Houthis closing the bubble mandab is what are they getting in return? Because they know what their cost is. The Houthis know the cost is that United States and Israel will bomb the crap out of them, and their UAE and Saudi Arabia will increase the funding of their competition in Yemen. But what can the Islamic Republic give them for this to be worth their while? Like, this is the most important part, because the whole world will turn against the Islamic Republic. Even China will turn against the Islamic Republic if they want to close Bab el-Mandeb. You know, Saudi oil will not be able to reach China in a reliable way if the Houthis close Bab el-Mandeb.
I think the cost is their existence. They're gonna stop existing. They're gonna be blown to bits. They're gonna be eradicated.
Yeah. So that's why we have to see if the Islamic Republic could actually give them something really important. Oh, you start a Persian comment in the chat for me?
Yes.
Okay, somebody's saying Amu Armin خیلی حرف میزنی خسته نمیشی فارسی که داریش انگلیسی هم حرف میزنی باور کن عربی هم برنامه داری مواظب به گلوت باش قربونت. So this guy is saying, Uncle Armin, you're talking so much. You have a Persian show and now you're speaking English. I trust that you also have an Arabic show as well. Be careful, you're gonna get so tired. Love you. So he's saying like, why are
also
you
a Hebrew show?
Yeah, he's saying like, you just finished the Persian show and now you're doing an English show. Be careful, you're gonna get so tired. Your throat is gonna get tired. And then he says, "Love you" at the end with the flower.
Look, I think that's what's behind the ginger tea. Ginger tea is known to be excellent for the throat. It's good for your vocal cords. That's what Grandma always recommends to me. I love my grandma. She always gets me the ginger tea when I have a cold.
Well, thank you, Mirta. Thank you, Mirta. I love you. Mwah. Thank you for the positive comment. Oh, we got a super chat as well. Veteran Huffman. Oh, this is for you. You want to read this one?
Veteran Hoffman says, Motorpool Grease Monkey, I'm already subscribed. Plan to join your channel when YouTube makes that option available. Thank you very much. We're very close to that, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Veteran Huffman. Yeah, support the monkey. Support the monkey. Thank you. And okay, let's go through this. Oh, let me actually respond to the China thing. I looked it up. So here's the answer. China did not use most of its official strategic petroleum reserve, successfully preserving roughly 1.35 billion barrels by prioritizing commercial stock drawdowns and restricting refined fuel exports. This leaves their primary national energy buffer largely untouched and capable of covering over 100 days of imports as tensions persist. Okay, but 100 days is not like, what if they go over 100 days? Like, that is not that safe.
That also creates, I think that's also a domestic problem, because that means you're basically you're refining for the outside, not for the inside, right? You're not like you're just keeping all the oil, using your refineries for you and for commercial, not for civilian, right? If they're, because I have seen personally a lot of reports of people in China not being able to get gasoline for domestic use, like at long lines and some
In China?
In China, yeah, I got a lot of videos on that.
So are
In China
Chinese
Observer,
people
China
running out of
Uncensored.
fuel for their domestic use? I'm gonna double check.
This was about a month ago. That's when it started being reported.
Okay, so I don't know. The AI is telling me no, but it's weird. It says Chinese citizens are not running out of fuel because the government proactively banned all refined petroleum exports to ensure the domestic market remained fully insulated. Furthermore, an explosive rise in electric vehicle adoption, now making up over half of all car sales, has permanently lowered the nation's baseline dependence on gasoline. Anyways,
I'd ask it, why were there so many long lines of gas? Because this is something that did happen, and it did a big caveat at the start, where it says not all. Sometimes what AI does is it put a big caveat at the front, and it closes off other options. Is that okay? Not all,
okay,
but
but
some.
after this, well, I'm gonna go back to Iran. Okay.
Look, I'm like curious, George. I'm a curious little monkey.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, I know. I'll get you the answer, but after that, let's go to back to this video. Wow. Hold on. Let me see. Yeah. Okay. So the long fuel lines heavily circulating online are actually desperate Russian queuing at. Okay, so fuel lines are caused by frantic Russian drivers crossing the border to buy
That's
China's
just
excess.
blatantly wrong. They're like looking at the wrong thing. Like I'm talking
We
about.
are. I really want to go back to this video.
Okay.
We could.
This is why I don't trust AI sometimes. I don't know who's invested in it. If you got money in AI,
really want to play
I don't
this
trust it.
video. I'm gonna play
we
this
can
video.
make their
I wish you would mention Princess of Pahlavi. I wish you would, like, we need a government like this. You're only gonna get that with Princess of Pahlavi. And in fact, you know who just mentioned Princess of Pahlavi? Laura Loomer mentioned this, saying President Trump should invite Reza Pahlavi to meet with him in the Oval Office, and then he should invite Elon Musk to the same meeting and announce free Starlink for the people of Iran until Khamenei, which Khamenei? Mujtaba Khamenei? Oh no, this is old. She just retweeted it. Okay, so she just retweeted something that she had posted before. Interesting. So she's bringing that into people's attention. I wonder why. Okay, that's pretty good though.
Yes.
Yeah. I wish when people said that there needs to be a government that is this and that in Iran, I wish they would also mention that there's only one way to get there, which is Princess of Pahlavi. That's what they need to do more often. I don't know why people shy away from saying that. There is no other
Because
way.
it makes him a target. Like there's like the reason a general won't say it, the reason Trump won't say it, the reason Marco Rubio won't say it, it's because he makes him target. That's a card you pull out at the right time. I know Iranians really want him out there, but you're just number one making a target out of him. Number two, you're giving everyone more time to make the case against him. When you put him in, you want it to be the only choice.
Yeah,
he
I'm
can
not
keep
saying-
doing
I'm not-
his thing,
I'm
but
not-
I'm just still minding the other side.
Yeah. I mean, I see what you're saying, and I'm not saying President Trump or other people, but him, for example, commentators on Fox News, it would be useful if they mentioned it. That would be helpful. Also, we just got another video from a strike. Video released by Iranian state media shows the aftermath of the latest U.S. strike on Shahid Mirzai tunnel in Bandar Abbas. The tunnel is in Iran's southern Hormuzgan province on the Bandar Abbas to Hajiabad route, part of the strategic Bandar Abbas Sirjan highway. Okay, so let's look at this, guys. These are the aftermath of the U.S. strikes in southern Iran.
گلوگاه یا تونل شهید میرزایی در واقع دو تونل ورودی و خروجی شمالی شهر بندرعباس در حال حاضر به دلیل حمله جنگنده‌های آمریکایی مسدود شدن. دو تونل آسیب جدی دیدن، ولی ماشینالات دارن کار میکنن و میگن ما به زودی راه رو باز میکنیم. یعنی حالا به صورت موقتی راه باز میشه که ماشین‌های سبک بتونن تردد کنن.
So, guys, they're trying to they're saying they're going to open it up. They're saying soon they will be back open. That's what they're saying. They're saying like they have this stuff here to reopen it. Yeah, they should hit it. They should hit it in a way that it completely collapses or something. Honestly, I wouldn't go through that. Like, even if they remove all of this stuff, I'm going to be afraid. Like, what if the whole thing collapses in my head while I'm driving through?
It's a terrible idea, but I mean, usually with these types of regimes, you do what you're told. Like, you could die working in there, or you could die now for not going in there.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, if they want to go to that level, then they're going to get a lot of this. They're going to dramatically increase desertion.
Work? You're worried? You're worried about death? What are you, a life lover? Pay? What do you care about pay? What are you, a life lover? Food? What you want food for? What are you, a life lover? It's crazy stuff.
Somebody suggested for you guys to wage jihad against the like button. So there, guys, report to us if that works as well. So we have tried lightly touching it. We have tried humping the like button. Now somebody is also suggesting to wage jihad against the like button. Let somebody try that and report back to us. We're doing trial and error to see what works the best, and let us know if it works, and we could report to our other followers to try that as well if you get positive results. Thank you for the suggestions. And then Fleshy Interloper with a super chat saying Durud and Shalom. Oh wait, you just arrived. Hello, we missed you. Where were you? So that's Fleshy here with us. Thank you for being here. And then we have Shauna saying MEK is deep in the Republican Party, so that's part of the issue. We just have to be patient. That is true. Unfortunately, there are so many politicians within the. Let me give a short context for people who don't know, and then I'll answer your question. So, for people who are new here, MEK is an Islamic Marxist cult that somehow has managed to buy many Republican politicians, including Pence, Giuliani, Bolton, Mike Pence. And these people are very loyal to the MEK, and the MEK pretends to be against the Islamic Republic, but their entire business model requires for the Islamic Republic to continue. So that has a huge negative effect on the Republican Party when it comes to their strategy against the Islamic Republic. Go on, Manki, what's your question?
Yes, that's Mike Pence and possibly JD Pence. We don't know if JD Pence is also,
You
have
need to
some kind
tell
of
people people are not going to know what you mean. So say JD Vance or but and then say or Pence.
Oh, I'm sorry,
You
JD
need to-
Vance. Did I say Pence? I spoke to his nature instead of his name.
So guys,
Oh,
this
my
is
apologies.
this is Monkey's joke for people who are new here. He calls JD Vance JD Pence. But go on.
Now,
So what's the
Mech
question?
is commie, right? And some of
Marxist,
the separatist Kurds are commies. Is some of that why the Republicans keep rooting for the separatists? Is that the tie? Because I don't get why these people keep rooting for communists. Is it Mech trying to say no, the separatists are good? Is that what's going on here?
That's a very interesting observation because we also have seen recently that the MEK and the Kurdish separatist groups work with each other as well. So that's an interesting observation. Good job.
I
don't
had
know
no
what the
idea about
answer is.
that, but I like just connecting it up here. Like, why are commies among Republicans? That doesn't make sense. Why are Republicans backing commies in like Kurdish communists? That doesn't make sense. And then I think, oh, maybe it's this money.
Yes, but this is a huge infection in the Republican Party. Like, we already know, guys, in the Democratic Party, we have NIAC being infecting there, and Chinese NGO, like the CCP's NGOs, infecting the Democratic Party. So we already know about that, but you have to worry about this infection in the Republican Party. This is a Marxist Islamic cult, and it has the full endorsement of people like Pence, like Giuliani, who else was it? Bolton, Pompeo, and people like that, which is horrible, horrible. Somebody needs to go out and ask these people why they're supporting a Marxist Islamic cult. It makes no goddamn sense. You're the Republican Party, for crying out loud. And then we got another super chat. And Shana, thank you for the reminder. That's a good, important thing that people need to know. Yeah, thank you. Oh, this is for you. You want to read this one?
So yes, it's Grievous Monkey. I think it would be great if it were possible for you to add more facial expressions. Look, I did this art. I did some art, but I like need an artist. I'm on here like 8 hours a day. You guys know it. So I barely have any time to do anything else. I'm also not monetized. So getting monetized would help me greatly towards that goal. That way I can hire a professional artist to do this kind of work for me, doing the kind of layering, even for a PNG tuber, having the layering for some movements and a variety of facial expression is something that takes time. So you have to do the layering right. You have to program it right. What I have done is basically a miracle because this is just me taking a stab in the dark, what I've accomplished here. And with your support, I could go way further into it. It's like the long-term goal is being a full-fledged VTuber like Nuxanor, my inspiration. And with the help of my mentor over here, Armin, we're on the way there.
Thank you. And also, Sayed gave us a super chat. Thank you, Sayed. Thank you, Sayed, for your support. And okay, let's go over here, see what Nikki Haley has to say. Do we like Nikki Haley so far? She has had good takes so far. I think, like, I don't know if she has done something in the past that we don't like her about. Okay, like that's something different. I don't know. Like if I'm endorsing anything she says, I'm just talking about what she's saying over here. We don't like Nikki Haley. People are saying no.
No.
Okay, I don't know what. No. Okay. Never Nikki. What's the issue with her? Educate me.
She
the short.
Okay, the short version. She talked a lot of shit during her run. A lot of that shit wasn't true. So people don't like her for all the shit he talked. She's like Pence, basically.
Okay. All right, let's see what she says here.
Could you speak to like what's happening in Congress, or rather what is not happening in Congress? There's the Democrats this week blocked the defense bill. And then also we still are without FISA. And we know that Iranians would love to try to perpetrate a terrorist attack here on American soil. Do you have thoughts on how urgent this situation is for Congress to deal with?
It's unbelievable that the Democrats are going to turn around.
Yeah, you mean the regime, right? the regime terrorists.
Yeah, regime proxies and regime supporters, not the Iranians.
Thank you.
Unbelievable that the Democrats are going to turn around. One, the NDAA, FISA, they did this with Homeland Security. They care more about the midterms and making a political point than they do about securing Americans' safety. That's the biggest problem we have. I mean, even if you look at the vote against Israel, I mean, what's happening with Israel and voting against aid, Israel's never violated a law. They've always stood with us as a valuable partner. We are stronger because of Israel. No one is pushing President Trump to support Israel. I disagree with J.D. Vance and what he said. Israel's not pushing anyone. Everyone is supportive of Israel because they've always stood by us. I mean, this is a decision between, are you going to support Israel or are you going to support the terrorists that went into Israel and killed 1,200 people, took 250 hostage, including Americans? That's the decision. And you've got all of these Democrats voting to stop aid to Israel, the Iron Dome, the one that's helping us defeat Iran. It doesn't make any sense. And I think all of this talk about being for Israel, against Israel, you need to stop talking about Israel and you need to start focusing on Iran. They're the ones that are trying to kill Americans right now.
Again, not the Iranians are not trying to kill Americans. It's their occupiers. It's the regime and its proxies.
Ones that are trying to kill Americans right now on American soil. The war that we are facing right now in Iran, we are facing it there so that it doesn't happen here. Iran has said for decades, death to America. They don't mean death to America and Iran. They mean coming to America and causing death here. And they will do that. And what President Trump and the administration are trying to do is stop that. We can't get involved in these distractions on Israel. We need to be focused on finally finishing Iran once and for all, the regime once and for all, so that the Iranian people know what it is to have peace.
I mean, she ain't wrong here, whatever she said before.
Well, the problem is if you get her in office, she's going to side with Democrats a lot. It's like these Thomas Massey types that they say the right thing, but once
Really?
they're in office, they vote with Democrats. Yeah, the Democrats funded her campaign so that she could knock down Trump. That's who funded her, the Democrats. That's why a lot of people hate her, because she was basically a ploy to get rid of Trump.
Speaking of people with
She is saying the right thing, though. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Here she's saying that.
Oh,
okay. You okay, Monkey?
I will survive as long as I got my bananas. I changed it up a little bit.
Okay. Guys, as soon as he was like, Monkey was talking, and in the middle of his talk, as soon as he saw Tucker on the screen, he was like, oh. Now he's angry. Okay, let's see.
It's what his face does to me, man.
Yeah. Wait, I think he mentions Iran in this clip and what's happening right now. Hold on.
The Republican Party, the fact that you've left it, does that mean you've given up on J.D. Vance leading the Republican Party, being the next presidential candidate, and it being a different Republican Party to what you see now?
Well, I think if J.D. Vance were president, of course we would not be at a war with Iran. It's impossible for me to imagine J.D. Vance standing up and saying we need to have two wars to defeat a phantom nuclear program. It's like too insane. You know, I think he has too much self-respect to say something like that. I don't think he believes it. I think J.D. Vance would have.
Phantom nuclear problem? What the fuck is he talking about? Iran says it has a nuclear program. U.S. says they have a nuclear program. Who is doubting this? Who on earth, what nation on earth is doubting this? Even as I say this, I'm moving my hands to the center and the sides. I'm imitating Trump unconsciously because who is saying this? Who says this? What is he talking about? These people are crazy. These people are insane.
So I think he's believing the Islamic Republic. I mean, he pretends to be, believing the Islamic Republic. Because the Islamic Republic says our nuclear program is only for peaceful purposes. It's not for a nuclear weapon. So his argument is that he believes them, right? So when he says it's a phantom nuclear program, he means like for weapons. He believes that the Islamic Republic is only doesn't have that is not going to go for nuclear weapons. He thinks that that's a lie. That's an Israeli lie, a Jewish lie, that to bring Americans into war. So that's his theory. That yes, he believes the Islamic Republic. He thinks the Israelis are lying, and he believes the Islamic Republic.
He presents himself as believing that.
Yes, that's what I said.
Led. I think he has too much self-respect to say something like that. I don't think he believes it. I think J.D. Vance would have led the Republican Party into closer alignment with its own voters. But he was not the president. He's the vice president, and he doesn't have the authority.
Yeah, but he could be the next presidential candidate.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, I wish he had been elected president in 2024, but that didn't happen. I love JD. I've never been shy about that. I've taken a lot of abuse for saying that. I probably haven't helped him at all by saying that. I don't agree with him on everything, of course, but I think he's an honest, very smart, decent person that puts him above almost all politicians I've ever met. And so I'm on some basic level rooting for him, but it's just hard to imagine.
Okay. So another reason why I don't like JD Vance is people like Tucker like him. That tells me a lot.
He lied so much. He lied so much in that little bit. I could get 5-10 minutes out of the amount of lies and the amount. Look, so any self-respecting. So if you are against JD, you're not He is so full of shit. Like let me tell you something right here. Let me tell you something. Now that I got the floor, right? This motherfucker just lied so much. First of all, self-respecting. Okay, so that implies that if you don't support a JD Vance and him saying, hey, these people got nukes. Everybody know they got nukes. They got that nuclear material. They're trying to get nukes. They're using it for ballistic reasons. The ballistics reached all the way to Diego Garcia, which means they could reach all the way to Europe. They're a problem. They got cluster bombs. They could make cluster dirty bombs just with their 60% they got right now. We got to hit them. No, this guy is calling it a phantom program. You could interpret it as him might be trying to portray that he believes what the IRGC is saying. But if you look at what his fucking audience, they're not thinking that. He's not. He can claim that that's what he really believes if you put him in a corner and you ask him 20 questions. But that's all irrelevant because what only matters is what's coming out of his mouth right now. And right now he's talking to the American people, and to the American people, he's telling them that the IRGC's nuclear program is a fantasy, that it's a phantom, that it doesn't exist. So you got to look at the reality of what he's doing, and what he's doing is lying out of his, his face hole. He's full of shit, man. I hate this lying sack of shit.
Okay, well, tell us how you really feel, though.
YouTube wouldn't approve. I wouldn't do that to you.
No. Okay. Well, I have another clip of Tucker again. How about that? Let me okay, so that he told us what he thinks about JD Vance. Now he's going to tell us what he thinks about President Trump. Okay, listen to this. And guys, I see your super chats. We're going to go to your super chats, but let me just see how the monkey responds to this one.
I didn't feel like a winner. I felt like a loser.
At the point that we're talking right now, President Trump, all by himself, without Benjamin Netanyahu by his side, has said the ceasefire is over. And the United States in the last 24 hours has hit more than 80 Iranian targets.
Right. So
isn't the more honest and direct thing to do hold him fully accountable for his actions as the most powerful man in the world?
I don't think he's the most powerful man in the world. I have held him directly accountable. It's his fault. He's the U.S. president. He was elected. That's his job. And a huge part of the job is resisting pressure from outside forces. I mean, many presidents have, to varying degrees, resisted, attempts to control them from outside. And he didn't. So he's weak. I'm not pretending otherwise. But it's also just a factually verifiable statement that Israel pushed us into this. And Trump allowed them to do that. The Secretary of State himself said that on camera. So this is not like a conspiracy theory. It's a fact. The United States is unwilling to, or maybe unable, who knows, to restrain Israel. I'm on the outside. I'm not talking to Trump anymore. I haven't spoken to him since late February. So I don't really know. But I, have a news feed. So I know that we did not restrain our ally and partner in this war, Israel. And so, of course, it was never going to work.
Okay. But it's one thing.
Okay. What do you think?
Didn't feel
I think he's full of shit. Everything he says is a lie. Everything he says is a lie. What? I can break it down, but I would have to take a piece. Okay, stop right there. This is why that's a lie. Take a piece. Stop right there. This is why it's a lie. When I gotta go through the whole way through, and you know what? This is not an anger against you. This is against Tucker, right? You like to run the whole way through, grab one thing you like, and talk about that for 2 minutes. I don't like to do that. I like to go piece by piece, break down. This is how the manipulation works. When he's doing it, when anyone does it, recognize this manipulation, look at it, see it for what it is. I like to train the people to find the phrases and the methods.
Yeah.
You like to take one good point and take it and use it like a baseball bat and just beat him down with it as he rightly deserves. Now, I respect your method. I got my method, but hearing it both ways the whole way through, it drives me nuts sometimes.
So I actually prefer it. I actually prefer it, pausing and responding to every point. The problem is that's hard when I have the video and there's two people. That it's difficult to do that without constantly interrupting each other. I'm pausing it. You could have told me to pause it, and then maybe I could pause it every time you wanted me to pause it. So just tell me to pause it. When you,
we got to do it like that sometimes. We got to have a breakdown. Okay, this one we're gonna break it down, and we do that. We got to plan a little bit ahead of it because I don't want to jump in when we got to have it kind of planned ahead because it gets kind of muddled.
Right. Okay, but what do you think to his claim that President Trump is weak? Though he's saying I don't think Trump
is saying that
is the most.
He's lying. He's lying. He's the strongest president we've seen in a very long time. It's
he's saying that he should have resisted.
True.
This is the part that it gets really frustrating, because he says President Trump is weak because he didn't resist attempts by Israel to control the United States. So all of this comes with the assumption that Israel is controlling the United States. He's saying he's strong, because people are saying people are criticizing him, saying that you shouldn't just blame Israel, you should blame Trump, because it comes to president. It's basically at the end of the day, it's Trump's decision. And he's basically responding, he's saying, yes, even though Israel is doing all of this, I do blame Trump because he didn't resist Israel's influence in the United States because he's weak. That's what he's saying, which is all of it is a lie because it comes with the assumption that Israel is controlling the United States.
He's trying to set the stage for the candidate to be J.D. Vance. That's all he's doing. That's the same thing J.D. Vance was doing when he was lying about the MOU. The Israelis shouldn't interfere with the MOU. Tucker Carlson, the influence of the Israelis on the MOU. Motherfucker, the MOU includes how Israel deals with Hezbollah. You can't tell these people to not have a say in how they defend themselves from aggression. He's just being retarded.
Yeah. Okay, we got a
Watching
lot of super chats. We got a lot of super chats, but before we do the super chats, you start this comment.
Look, I push-ups, nothing against you, but this is a kind of a thing that has been going on, right? Push-up says, disagree, monkey. It's just a team mentality. Haley was against Trump, so Trump's fans imagined. This is a key point I want to go against here. Imagine her to be the devil and never let it go. Okay, so let's look for the fact. Democrat donors gave money to Haley. FEC records Haley campaign raised $58.4 million from the Democrats to Nikki Haley. Point two, Democrat and independent voters boosted Haley in the open primaries. One of the strongest factual points that Haley performed much better among independents and Democrats who were legally allowed to vote in the Republican primaries, because in that primary, they let Democrats vote and anyone vote in the primary, even if the candidates are Republican. The Democrats were rallied to vote for Nikki against Trump. Number three, Democrats for Haley organizations emerged. Several groups were organized campaigns encouraging Democrats and independents to vote for Haley in Republicans' primaries. Their stated goal was to generally oppose Trump's nomination. Okay, anti-Trump Republicans, bipartisan donors backed Haley. Ken Griffin, Paul Singer, John Coombe. So I'm not imagining the stuff that makes Nikki a slimy piece of shit that's siding with other people. Like, I know what I'm talking about. This is American politics. I wasn't asleep. I didn't dream this. This is reality. And maybe you didn't know push-ups. I'm not saying this is something that you think deeply and deeply, but you might have heard that. But this thing that we imagine that she's the devil. No, we know where she's getting her marching orders. And we had that same problem with Thomas Massey and the Marouk family.
So one thing that I try to do, and I think I saw Monkey do it as well, is that even when somebody has a background that we don't like, if they say something that is correct, we're going to be like, well, that's correct. Even if we just hate the person or we don't like their positions and they have a bad track record, we're like saying, yeah, okay, that's all is true. But we don't also shy away from saying, well, this statement that they made over here is a good point, right? Like we should be able to do that, even with our ideological enemies, like complete adversaries. Even we should be able to say, like, okay, this point that they made here, regardless of everything else in their background, this point over here is a good point, right? Does that make sense?
Yes, like some people have a personal attachment. Maybe they had their own reasons to back them. That had nothing to do with the Democrats. They had their own reasons. They're like, hey, I had good reasons, and my reasons are honorable, and they get personally ties. I'm seeing that in chat. I voted for them. Hey, you did, you do you, boo boo.
No, I'm saying something else. That's what I'm saying. That's what
I'm saying. What I'm saying.
Okay, but can you tell me first? Respond to what I said before saying that. Like, do you agree with that?
Yes, yeah, of course. We've done it all the time we've been here. We always do this.
Yes.
Yeah, everyone. Okay, for people who are new, I agree with Armin. We do this all the time. When people are wrong, we point out that they're wrong, even if we like them. And when people are right, we point out that they're right, even if we don't like it, even if their past is murky. Like, we do this all the time.
Great policy. Great policy. All right. So there, we got some super chats. The real Saw is saying, Israel is behind it all. I slept in late today. Israel's fault. I just dropped my coffee. Israel's fault. Yes, the real Saw. Actually, this is more true than most people realize. I know we joke about it a lot, but there was literally somebody, an official, who, I think it was an Islamic Republic official, if I remember correctly, who lost their shoe, and they seriously came out and said that Mossad stole their shoe. Like, this wasn't even a joke. They were saying, like, they missed their shoe, somebody stole their shoe, and they said it was Mossad. They blame Mossad for this. Guys, I'm not exaggerating this. Go look it up. This literally happened. Mossad got blamed
Bukhari, British political activist, founder of Muslim Public Affairs Committee. She claimed the Zionist had entered his home while he slept and stolen one of his shoes as part of an intimidation campaign against him.
Yes. There was a mullah who admitted on his YouTube channel, which is a Persian YouTube channel, he admitted that even if a cat dies in their neighborhood, they will find a way to blame the Jews. Like a cat. Anyways. So
that's not fair. Cats are adorable.
Thank you, Real Sal. By the way, guys, Real Sal is an American Lebanese patriot. Thank you so much. And say it with a super chats. Oh, where is it? Oh, I missed two. I'll go back to it. But say it saying, imagine who he is that Tucker. Wait, imagine who he is that Tucker loves him.
JD.
Oh, JD Vance. JD. Yes. Imagine. Yeah, exactly. That's what I said. Say it. I was like, well, another reason why I don't like JD Vance, if he gets the endorsement of somebody like Tucker Carlson. George said something. I don't know what this is. Can you help me out, Monkey? Can you explain this?
Arroyo Dry Gulch.
Explain.
Oh, I can read it. I can't explain it. Arroyo means dry gulch. I know arroyo is like Un arroyo, a dry gulch.
Okay. All right.
Like
Well,
in
thank
Spanish.
you, George. Thank you. Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you so much for the super chat, George. And then Shauna with the super chat saying, MEK, ISO, Cox, Islamists, Democrats, Socialists are all one enemy operating on different terrains. Wow, that's actually true. Yeah, man, that's a good way of chat. Like, Monkey, do you agree with that? That's pretty interesting way
Absolutely,
of looking
Shauna
at
is
it.
100% correct here.
That is it, guys. Screenshot that, give it to AI, make a graphic, nice code out of that, and put it on the wall. Hang it, frame it, put it on the wall. That's pretty epic. This is true. This is true.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Birds
good.
of a feather fly together.
Yes.
Different turds from one bunghole. However you phrase it, you probably phrase it better than me, but this is absolutely correct.
Absolutely correct. Fantastic. Oh, so you want to read this next one by Shana? Thank you, Shana.
Shana says it's not most Republican voters. He's lying about that. Tucker's numbers reflect that. Also, the Republican base is working class energy sector, tech leagues, evangelicals, and military. Yeah. I would say, well, tech elites is like a very small demographic, but a few of them are in there. The thing is, they're a little weird. They're a little autistic. We love them. We love autistic people. I'm a little autistic sometimes. But I would say this is evangelicals. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Sean. Thank you. Appreciate you. Spitting out
Thank
facts.
you, Shana. Yes. All right, look at this. Let me see what do you know this guy? This guy has the worst takes. Forgot his name, but he's John. I have a hard time pronouncing his name.
Mershimer.
Mershimer.
I don't know how to read it, but I'm just following the letters.
He's pro-Putin, anti-Israel, anti-US with the worst takes. Have you seen his takes? He's so bad. He has always the anti-Ukraine, pro-Putin,
I don't think I've ever
anti-Israel,
seen him.
anti-American. Oh my God, he's very famous, and I always have a hard time pronouncing his name, but he's.
Thank
very
you for the
famous.
new
He's
tortures. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Yes. Okay, so let's see. Maybe he surprises us here. Maybe he has a good take over here. Let's see what he says.
The Iranians are clearly going to win, but what?
Okay, no, maybe not. So
Well, as long as he doesn't mean the IRGC, that the Iranians will win,
Yes.
but not the IRGC.
Yeah, you're right. But these people rarely mean us, the Iranian people. But yeah, if you look at it at that, it's true. The Iranian people are going to win against the Islamic Republic.
The Iranians are clearly going to win, but what President Trump will do is he will declare victory. And all of his acolytes will say that it is a great victory. The question is, do you think that he will be able to convince most Americans, most voters, that he won the war against Iran? And I think he will not be able to do that. And I don't think he will be able to convince most people around the world, including in countries like India. We could all see with our own eyes what's happening here.
Yeah.
And we've reached a point where you have.
Okay, you want me to pause? I'll pause. Okay.
Okay, what's going on here is that he's of all, the first lie that he's putting out here. First lie that he's putting out here is about the Iranian people. He insists on calling them the Iranians. That's part of the psyop, right? He doesn't want to say the IRGC. He doesn't want to say the military. He wants to pretend that these people are supported by most of Iran, which is not true. Same way Putin is right now not supported by most of Russia, right? So you got to make the distinction. Like, the Trump is favored by more than half of America. He won the popular vote. He won the electoral college. So it would be really hard to make the same accusation of America, right? But the places that don't have the support of the people, places like UK, like right now, their leadership support is in the floor. One of them had to resign. Like all those places, France, Spain, they're going to say, oh, no, that's the Iranian people. They're making that false claim. The other false claim is that if we have a military victory, it's not a military victory, that the only military victory is a political victory. This is the false claim, that a victory is not a victory. Like they don't want to distinguish between a military victory and a political victory. The political victory is the complete eradication of the regime, IRGC control powers over anything in Iran. That's the political victory. That's when you have a transitional government. That's a completely different thing. Well, that's not something that was ever what we were trying to do. We might be able to help that come along, but what we want is the type of military victory that allows that to happen. Because these people would say, oh, you're crazy if you try to do regime change, and then say you haven't won until you did regime change. So that way, that's a catch-22. You win if you, no matter what you do, you're wrong. So that's a false dichotomy. So he wouldn't accept a military victory. What I was saying earlier in the show is we have to have a large military victory and stability to win the midterms. And I think that is what we're ramping up to. He is setting the stage so that it will not be accepted. And I'm sure it will not be accepted by leftist media, which is 4 out of 5 channels is leftist in any country you go to. It will not be accepted as a victory in most of Europe, which are a bunch of, as good as the people are, the governments in Europe are largely leftist, right? So we know when he says the people of the world were not accepted, he's talking about, 4 out of 5 channels in media in any country which are leftist will not accept it, and most of the nations in Europe which are leftist and will not accept it. So he's setting up the stage for what he knows is going to happen, is that leftists will make the false dichotomy that we did not have a military victory because we didn't do regime change, and in that same have that dual thought, right? That you either have to have a political victory by regime change, also regime change bad. So you have that double standard there, and it's just laying out the groundwork for a whole bunch of false premises that will lead to the president didn't win.
Right.
I
I
feel
have a
better now.
question. I have a question. This guy, wait, let me see actually. Where is he from? Is he American? Is he American? Let me see. Prefers, yes, he's American. Okay. So what he's describing the Islamic Republic winning and United States losing. Why is he so happy? Let me go back to the beginning, and guys, look at him describing the United States losing and the Islamic Republic winning, and he looks like he's having the best time. He's describing the greatest news ever. Like, look at this.
The Iranians are clearly going to win. But what President Trump will do is he will declare victory. And all of his acolytes will say that it is a great victory. The question is, do you think that he will be able to convince most Americans, most voters, that he won the war against Iran? And I
Wow, these people just really love America losing.
think he will.
He's giving out the marching orders.
Yeah, he's
like, you get it? You get what I'm trying to do? Look at it. Look at the way he's looking at him, and look at the other one like, hey, this is what's gonna happen, and he's not gonna be able to get it. And the other one is like smiling and like he's laughing, like, ha ha ha. You getting this? You getting what I'm putting down? You picking up what I'm putting down? Look at him. It's kind of like a schemy kind of thing that they're doing. Like, these are your marching orders. Go spread it out. And this guy doesn't represent any America any more than the IRGC represents Iran. Just because this asshole is an American doesn't mean he represents America. This is not like he's an American. Why?
These are traitors. This is treason. This is treason. This is a traitor. Yes.
Yes. Be able to do that. And I don't think he will be able to convince most people around the world, including in countries like India. We could all see with our own eyes what's happening here.
Yeah.
And we've reached a point where you have to ask yourself, do you believe what we see with our own eyes, or do you believe what President Trump says? And I think almost all of us believe what we see with our own eyes. And the fact is that the Iranians have been able to stymie the Americans, and indeed,
their supreme leader is dead. All of the heads of their military is dead. Their military infrastructure is destroyed. Nothing remotely similar has happened to the Americans or Israelis. What are you talking about? Show me a fraction of what United States and Israel have done to the Islamic Republic. Show me a fraction of them doing that to United States and Israel. What are you talking about? What world do you live in? What does the United States and Israel have to do for this to be a victory? How are you seeing it? What has the Islamic Republic done for you to see that, for you to describe what they're doing as a victory. What have they accomplished? They haven't done anything. What is he looking at? I don't understand what they. I mean, he's lying.
I think what's going on here when he says stymie means block, right? He's using a word like stymie to mean that they have blocked America. I want to know what they blocked. What have they blocked America from doing? America was able to get all the ships in that were out. The hostage ships are out. The oil that was stuck is out. The only people that are blocked or stymied, as he likes to say, with a slimy, stymie word. The only people that are blocked are the IRGC.
Yeah. Yeah, not a single, guys. The Islamic Republic itself admitted that the U.S. blockade meant that they couldn't get a single barrel. This is not my words. These are the words of Pezeshkian, the president of the Islamic Republic. Came out and admitted not a single barrel of oil made it through the U.S. blockade. But the Strait of Hormuz blockade by the Islamic Republic, everything got through. That's why that's why prices came back down really fast, even while the blockade was on. The American Navy somehow managed to get millions of barrels through the Strait of Hormuz, even when the blockade was on. This was insane. Like, we didn't even expect that. We were just looking at the market and we were like, why are the prices so low when there's a blockade? And then later realized, I mean, Ali actually saw it happening even before it was reported. Using Chinese satellite data, he figured out that the Americans they're getting the commercial ships to put their transporters off and then basically forcing them through the Strait of Hormuz. And they did it in such volume that the oil prices managed to remain low. So what are you talking about?
Americans. I think before this war, to be honest, that hardly anyone thought that the Iranians would do as well as they have done in this war. I think lots of people understood, me included, that the Iranians had some powerful cards to play. But I don't think anyone fully understood, including the Iranians themselves, exactly how this war would play out.
Look at how happy he is. Look at, oh my God, so happy.
Understood, including the Iranians themselves, exactly how this war would play out and how well Iran would do against the United States.
If they have been this successful, why are they not as happy as you? Why are they go watch state TV? Why are they constantly crying about losing? Why are they, for the first time in 1400 years, Shias are admitting that they're losing things? Why are they not as excited as you are?
I don't know where he lives. Because it could be like Jackson Hinckley. He's born in America, but he doesn't live there, and that's not where he gets his money. I wonder where he gets his money and where he lives. I don't like this guy is claiming to be an American or whatever. Maybe he was born there. I don't believe anything he said. He says India. Why does he say India? That's a rare pick. If you're talking about most of the world, why are you going all the way to India? That doesn't make sense to me. Well, I mean, India blocked the shadow fleet because America said, hey, we got economic fury on. If you let the shadow fleet from Iran go through, you're going to have a problem with us. So how does India have anything to do with this? India, they may love to play both sides, but when push comes to shove, they don't want the sanctions. They don't want the problems with us. You think India's not going to side with us? Why? Because they got to deal with who? They got to deal with UAE? That's not gonna make them side with the IRGC. Where is he going with this? Because I know India has a deal with Iran. India was getting cheap oil from Iran. That's a reality. This guy must be thinking that's still going on. But India also has a deal with UAE, and UAE, I think, is not very happy with the stuff that's going on with IRGC. They also don't want to piss off America by letting any of the shadow fleet go through. So I don't know what the fuck this guy is talking about and why he goes all the way to India to say the world is not going to see it as a win. I don't know where he's pulling this from. Probably his ass.
Let me show you guys. This is Raifipur. Raifipur is one of the most famous pro-regime, anti-American, anti-Israeli, anti-MOU, anti-negotiation influencers in Iran. Okay, it doesn't get higher than Raifipur when it comes to influencer status and supporting the regime and asking for maximum aggressive response to the Americans and Israelis, right? He's pro the supreme leader, everything. He's as Durka as they come, right? So I'll just play this a little bit and I'll tell you what's happening. He's basically telling Ghalibaf we lost. He's saying, Ghalibaf, you came out and hold a letter, the MOU, saying that this shows that we have won, but we have lost, right? Look at this.
اکثریت مردم جهان که با ما ان خیلی دوست دارن جنگ در بگیره. میگن یه دور این دفعه درست حسابی بزنید. دفعه قبل غافلگیر شدید.
Oh no, this is not the video. Let me find the other video. This is not the right video, but let me see if I can find it. Give me a second. Okay, yeah. No, I didn't get that. Okay, let me actually show you. I'll go find that. I know where it is. But here's an edited version of that. People basically comparing Ghalibaf holding the letter and saying we won, the Americans lost. And this is from pro-regime people posted this, comparing it to what's actually happening on the ground. But let me play this for you guys until I'll find the other Raifipur video.
این سند شکست آمریکاست. قدرت مذاکره یک روش مبارزه هست یعنی این. ما با عزت کار کردیم.
See, so what they're doing is saying, Ghalibaf, you lied to us. You said the MOU mean that we won and the Americans surrendered, but that's not what happened. That's not what happened. What actually happened is that you humiliated us by signing the MOU, and then the Americans came and attacked us anyways after. So here, I found the other video. This is Raifipur, and he's basically saying this, attacking Ghalibaf and saying you with the MOU, you saw that you told us that we won because they signed the MOU, but we didn't. Here, this is the video I was talking about.
تیم محترم مذاکره کننده رفتی مذاکره فردا نیایی بگی ما هم میدونستیم ترامپ میزنه زیرش نداداش اگر میدونستی نمیومدی تو تلویزیون بگی این سند افتخاره جز اینه.
They're like, hey, like negotiating team, you came and with this letter said like, oh, this is our pride. You didn't know that the Americans will come and attack us anyways.
جناب بگیم گفتی سند افتخاره که میگفتیم
Anyways, I'm not going to play the whole thing. I just want to say that this guy, that professor, he's full of crap.
Propaganda.
Professor Propaganda is full of crap because in Iran, the pro-regime people are admitting that they lost, and they're saying the Americans fooled our negotiating team. They're bombing us, and they're saying we're doing nothing about it. We're doing nothing about it. The Americans are coming and bombing southern Iran, and you guys told us that signing this MOU will hold them back, and it's not holding them back. So basically saying, shut the F up right now. We don't believe you anymore. That's what they're saying. So guys, you have these American traitors in the United States coming out and saying that the Islamic Republic is winning and the United States is losing, but in Iran itself, the pro-regime people are saying the opposite. They're saying the opposite.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it didn't help that they signed and kept attacking.
Exactly. So speaking of anti-American takes, I see some super chats. Maybe let's do the super chats first and then we'll go to this one. I'm your sensei is saying after Trump term is over, U.S. is in serious trouble. What do you think about this, Monkey? Is the U.S. in serious trouble?
I think Marco Rubio will probably beat out JD.
Oh.
I think that those are going to be the nominees. Everyone knows those are going to be the nominees. And I think what's going to happen is when it comes to what has happened, the resume of what happened in this last 4 years, when it becomes the time to vote, will be on the side of Marco Rubio as a force for actual change and visible, practical application of U.S. power, internally and externally. And J.D. Vance will be demonstrably a failure of practical use and application of U.S. power internally and externally.
Thank you. Yeah, hopefully you're right. If that happens, oh my God, that would be a new era as it begins and everything. I hope so. I hope you're right.
Another thing that's happening, the JD Vance being vice president doesn't really matter. People think it matters. It only matters if he has the president's support. And JD Vance is getting dangerously close to losing that support by kind of like deflecting everything that's his responsibility and, kowtowing and, putting up with these anti-Trump people around him.
Yeah. Hopefully you're right. We'll see. You want to read this one?
The Real Sal says, I don't care about Medias, Lebanon, or Israel. Israel is an ally and moral. Never care until October 7th. When I saw what happened to those little IDF girls on the day it broke me, reminded me of my sister who passed. Okay, so people have a personal connection because they can put themselves, because these people that got pretty much Western values, and when they see people acting like savages and doing horrible things to the Israelis, it does have an effect. So, Hamas keeps asking for war and losing them, doing horrible things and paying the price, and they will continue to until their, eventual destruction.
Thank you. That's I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry about your sister. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. And you have a big heart, by the way. I'm your sensei, but in a super chat saying, why can't Iran take in the Palestinian? Oh my God! Don't give them ideas. Hey, that's my country, the Islamic Republic. Do not, we already have big problems in the Islamic Republic. We don't want to add to that. Say, why can't the Islamic Republic take in Palestinian refugees to bring peace to Israel? The country is massive. Well, first of all, we are.
It's the other way around, right?
Yeah,
they export.
No, they are bringing Durka crap into Iran, and we don't like that. They are demographically re-engineering Iran by bringing the people with garbage ideas from all around the world. Not that everybody in these countries have garbage ideas, but they're bringing their worst from everywhere. They're bringing Hamas in, they're bringing from Lebanon, they're bringing in from Afghanistan and Pakistan. So they're actively bringing the people with the most garbage ideas into Iran, trying to demographically re-engineer the way Iran is. So, and that's really horrible. Like, they're destroying Iran by doing that. But they don't want to completely. Obviously, they're not going to do that completely. And Monkey is right. They also send people to these places. They bring people and they send people. They want to bring women, use them as breeding, and they send in. Commanders and fighters over there to basically expand their Shia imperialist empire. That's what the pan-Islamist empire. And they don't want to bring people from Palestine completely into Iran because they're imperialist. They're trying to expand. That would defeat the purpose. The Palestinian cause is not for the sake of bringing peace, is for the sake of bringing war. So that comes with the assumption saying, like, why don't they bring them there to bring peace, is because they're not interested in peace, they're interested in war. So, and bringing everybody back to Iran defeats the purpose of expansion. They're trying to expand. They're trying to take over the whole Middle East and North Africa and eventually the rest of the world. So why would they want to evacuate Palestine? Palestine is the main, so-called Palestine is right now the main weapon that they have for their expansionist ideas. Right.
Yes. We've seen the recruitment posters, some of them to Hezbollah. I'm sure there's some to Hamas, but we've seen it.
Yeah.
They pay money for people to go wage war and send them over there.
Yeah. And also, if they want to bring Palestinian refugees to Iran, I'm sure the Iranian people's uprising will happen even sooner, because the Iranian people are already, one of the main reasons that they're doing an uprising is because of garbage people bringing the garbage people that they bring in from outside of Iran into Iran.
I'd like to
And
speak about a comment before we get into this one. It says, before the 6-Day War, says Guru of Dudu, before the 6-Day War, Jordan owned West Bank and Egypt owned Gaza. Yet neither of those countries accept Palestinian refugees. How about that? Why doesn't Egypt keep an open air prison, as they say? Right? Why doesn't Egypt open the door? Things to consider. Maybe because they're always crazy.
Because they hate them. They hate Palestinians. The Egyptians hate the Palestinians. The Syrians hate the Palestinians. The Jordanians hate the Palestinians. The Arabs, the Saudis hate the Palestinians. The Emiratis hate the Palestinians. They hate the Palestinians. Every time any of these countries allowed the Palestinians, the so-called Palestinians in, they eventually turned against the very people who helped them, and they destroyed their country. They destroyed Lebanon. They destroyed Jordan. They destroyed everywhere they went to. They basically caused them. They turned everything to shit. Everybody hates them. Everybody, people pretend to love them, but they actually hate them.
I would call them a proxy war tribe. That's what they are. They're a war tribe that are proxies. As a tribe, they like to reproduce, they like to expand, but they're a colonial war tribe. And wherever they go, they want to colonize in the name of, IRGC interest.
True. Yes. Guys, remember, when I say Palestinian, I'm not talking about residents of Gaza. Palestinian, to me, refers to a terroristic movement against Israel and the rest of the world. It's a terrorist group. It's a terrorist institution, right? So anybody that is truly like Palestinian, then you're a terrorist. Okay, if you're not a terrorist and you're just a resident of Gaza or Judea and Samaria, then you're not Palestinian.
That's just
the
a
way
Gaza.
I use you're just a Gaza or a resident of Judea and Samaria. If you are actually Palestinian, then you're part of a terroristic movement that its first aim is to destroy Israel, and its overall aim is global Islamic takeover. Right.
Exactly.
And the real sub with a super chat saying, this guy reminds me of people who grew up in a little town but won't support their local team, but worse, roots for the team playing their local team. He hates his own country because it always wins. Yep. That's a pretty good description of him, for sure.
Yep.
And the real sub with another super chat saying, this is the first time in history Iran is losing. Well, I mean, the Islamic Republic is losing. Go back before it was Muslim. The Persians were smacking around Rome, Eastern Rome. Only reason why the Muslim took it because of a 60-year war with Byzantine left them no army. Yes, the Persian Empire and the Byzantine Empire, I mean, the Roman Empire, which was the Byzantine Empire, and the Persian Empire, which was the Sassanid Empire, were fighting for so long, for so many decades, that they were exhausted. And also, the real saw, it was also because of the plague. Both the Romans and the Iranians had to deal with plague because they had big cities, and the plague was devastated big cities, but the Arab nomads, the plague didn't affect them. So it was years of war and a plague that weakened both the Byzantine and the Sassanid Empire. And when the Arabs came and started taking over different cities of both the Roman Empire and the Persian Empire, they were surprised themselves, probably thinking like, wow, this is actually easier than we thought. Yes. Oh yeah. So yeah, I agree. I'm saying facts.
Great history.
Yeah. All right, and we've got another super chat saying, the real saw is saying, JD or far left wins. If either JD or the far left wins, it will be the end of US hegemony. I don't agree with that. I think United States overcomes its challenges. I think the underlying economy, the infrastructure, culture, and the system, the political system the United States has is too strong for even the worst president to be able to completely derail it. I think a bad president in the United States will be a bump in the road. It will get you off track temporarily, but I think the underlying fundamentals of United States is so strong right now that not even a really bad president will completely be able to completely derail it. What do you
And
think?
what does hegemony mean for the people that know? I mean, I know, of course, I know, but what does it mean for everyone who doesn't
So
know?
it's like absolute power and control over a territory, dominance.
Dominance, leadership, overwhelming influence in a group, country, organization, that kind of thing. Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. So okay, so let's go to this clip right now. I want to see which I have no idea what we're about to see. So let's see. I know it's Iran related though.
It looks to me, I've known him a long time, that he wants to get out of this, but
So he's talking about President Trump, based on the titles, short summary that Kava gives me. I know he's talking about President Trump. So he says like President Trump wants to get out of Iran.
it looks to me, I've known him a long time, that he wants to get out of this, but doesn't quite know how to get out of it because the Iranian regime remains there. It hasn't been taken out. The IRGC remain in control. The people haven't risen up in the way people were led to believe would probably happen. The Strait of Hormuz has become this secondary asymmetric warfare, if you like, with the Iranians pretty much controlling it to this day. Then you have all the attacks on the Gulf states and the damage that's done. I look at it all and I think there's no enriched uranium has been handed over. There was the 12-day war last summer, which we were assured had put back the Iranian nuclear program decades. Well, then why are we attacking them 8 months later to do exactly the same thing?
Oh my God. Because first of all, it's been a few months. What do you want the American military to do? Just snap their fingers and make everything be achieved? Also, you're like, yes, it was pushed back for decades, but obviously not completely gone.
None of it is making much sense to me. Does it make sense to you? Or as somebody who I imagine, just from what I've read about you, had very clear mission goals when you had men serving under you, because you understood that in warfare in particular, you've got to have that. You've got to know exactly what you're doing, how you're going to do it, what the exit strategy is, and what victory looks like. I don't see any of that here.
Yeah, and I think from Trump's perspective, I would say he looks at things more like a business of, hey, the market is changing, the competitors are doing this, we need to make some adjustments based on what we're seeing in the market real time, and that's what he's doing. And at least that's what it looks like to me, and making these adjustments, again, entering negotiations and announcing that looks like we've got a deal, and then a couple days later launching bombs, that's what you do when you're trying to adapt to a situation that you're not exactly sure
But if
how
you
it's
were,
going to
if
end
you were
up.
serving,
So
if you were serving, Jocko, if you were serving, and that was going on, and every single day the commander-in-chief was posting stuff on social media, often completely contradicting what he said the day before, is that not incredibly unsettling for the military? Now, my brother was an army colonel in the British Army. I know he says it's just like it's the ultimate nightmare when the guy at the top is out there telling everyone what he's going to do, then he doesn't do it, then he does some of it, then he
Wait,
says,
let me stop it
these
for a
guys are
second.
great, then he...
The military takes orders. We don't care what he says. We care what the orders are. As a military, you would know that the outward message is part of the fog of war. Like this saying, oh, the military would be very worried about what he's talking about politically. No, we wouldn't. We follow orders. What are they saying over there? We don't care. That's not part of the mission. This is our mission. Are they saying this? Are they saying that? We don't know why they're saying that. That could be like we had so many deceptions during World War II about where we were coming from, what we were going to do. The president would say and all kinds of shit. This is something that happens in every war. So when you go over here and you say, oh, aren't the soldiers mad about what the president is saying? No, they're not. They're not even looking at that stuff because they know they're in the middle of a mission and what's going on is not going to be known till later, sometimes years later. So no, this is a false equivalency about what's happening on the ground. And because he didn't like where this guy was going, he cut him off and tried to push a different point.
Oh, monkey. American soldiers died after a Islamic Republic attack. Two U.S. service members were killed in action in Jordan on July 17th as U.S. and partner forces defended against Iranian ballistic missiles and drone attacks. U.S. Central Command said in a post on X right now. Let me go to the CENTCOM post. Holy shit. Let me find that on CENTCOM. Where is it? This just happened. Okay, yeah, so this is it, I think. CENTCOM statement on recently fallen missing U.S. service members. On July 17th, 2 U.S. service members in Jordan were killed in action as U.S. Central Command and partner forces defended against Iranian ballistic missiles and drone attacks. Additionally, 1 service member is currently missing. 4 American service members were medically evacuated to Jordanian hospitals. They have since been discharged. Other personnel who were evaluated for minor injuries have returned to duty. Out of respect for the family, CENTCOM will withhold additional information, including the identities of the fallen warriors, until 24 hours after the next of kin have been notified. I'm so sorry for your loss, guys. All our loss.
Look, with things like this, it is out of respect that we don't know who they are until the family knows. The army, the military services like to have that personal time to talk to the families, explain what happened. I find the missing one a bit odd. I'd like to know what's going on with that, because if I thought this was an attack on a base, it may be different operations. I'm not absolutely sure. But with this kind of things, with anything that has to do with missing people and anything that has to do with loss, they are going to contact the family first, because even though we have an enormous amount of respect for the living and we will do anything to recover the living, you know, if you look at things like the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, which is always under guard because we don't know who that is, so we're going to keep the watch over them. We always respect the fallen and their families. So that's why they are going to be the ones who are spoken to first. Then, you know, there is transparency. We will know who these soldiers were, but or servicemen. I don't know what branch. What do they say? Anyway, it doesn't matter. The point is, there's going to be a great deal of respect given to the families, and that's why we will not know any details about this at this time. And that's just out of a willingness to show respect for the families.
Okay, let's get some more on this.
This will not lead to de-escalation, by the way.
Right.
Okay, guys, stand by here. We've got some breaking news to get to right now out of the Middle East. Some new news from CENTCOM here. We've got Lucas Tomlinson, who is live in Tel Aviv for us. Lucas, what are you hearing?
Aisha, we've just learned from the U.S. military central command in charge of all U.S. forces in the Middle East that 2 American service members have been killed and 1 is still missing after an Iranian missile attack on a base in Jordan. Additionally, we've learned that 4 American service members were wounded. They were transferred to Jordanian hospitals and have since been discharged. This all coming last night after at least 2 intermediate range ballistic missiles fired from Iran hit a base in Jordan not long after U.S. Air Force personnel had arrived, part of President Trump's reinforcements, an F-16 squadron, as well as an F-35 squadron. Of course, U.S. Air Force personnel are deployed throughout the Middle East. We've been heavily focused on the 2 U.S. Navy aircraft carrier strike groups that are in the Arabian Sea. The Air Force isn't as public about where it deploys its forces, but Jordan is a major hub, along with bases here in Israel, also Qatar, UAE, and of course in Saudi Arabia. But Jordan has been a major hub. So once again, Aisha, 2 American service members have been killed. 1 is still missing, and 4 were wounded in an Iranian ballistic missile attack on a base in Jordan last evening. It is the first American casualties in months since those 6 U.S. Army personnel were killed in the early days of the war in the attack on Kuwait.
Yeah,
Aisha.
terrible news this afternoon, Lucas.
Yeah.
And we
Wait, first, since what?
Those 6 U.S. Army personnel were killed in the early days of the war in the attack on Kuwait.
Yeah,
Aisha.
terrible news this afternoon, Lucas. And we were anticipating, we'd heard some things about it and just wanted to make sure and confirmed it before we went on air with it, Lucas. So thank you for that report. As far as the 4 American service members that were injured and have now been medically evacuated, do you know anything more about how bad those injuries are and how they were injured?
It appears they were injured when these Iranian ballistic missiles hit their intended target at this base in Jordan. Let me read the statement from U.S. Central Command, Aisha. It says, on July 17th, 2 U.S. service members in Jordan were killed in action as U.S. Central Command and partner forces defended against Iranian ballistic missile and drone attacks. Additionally, 1 service member is currently missing in action. 4 American service members were medically evacuated to Jordanian hospitals. They have since been discharged. Other personnel who were evaluated for minor injuries have returned to duty. Out of respect for the families, CENTCOM will be withholding additional information, including the identities of the fallen, until 24 hours after the next of kin have been notified. So this is the alert from the U.S. Military Central Command about 2 American service members being killed. 1 is still missing. 4 wounded in action, treated at Jordanian hospitals and discharged. But earlier, we also spoke about other wounded American service members. 10 U.S. Army soldiers, 3 U.S. Navy sailors have been wounded in recent days before this attack last night on this air base in Jordan. Aisha.
And we knew that things were amping up because a senior IRGC commander this week was warning that if U.S. strikes continued for a couple of more days, and it had been going on for 7 consecutive nights, Lucas, that Iran would move into a phase of, quote, full-scale offensive operations. So they were certainly ready to amp this up, and it seems like they have. We have reached out to the White House, Lucas.
There's going to be a lot of disgusting videos from the Islamic Republic celebrating this from the pro-regime people.
I have been trying to get some sort of a comment from them this afternoon.
Give him hell, President Trump, give him hell.
And I was just checking Truth Social, and we haven't seen anything from the president just yet. Of course, the question is now, does this change the strategy for the president, for the administration moving forward? I do remember, Lucas, I'm sure you do too, at the beginning of all of this, when people were asking about boots on the ground, what happens if we lose American soldiers, how that would impact his decision making. And he seemed to indicate that sometimes people get hurt and sometimes soldiers die when there's a conflict like this.
That's right, Aisha. We heard some of the early days of the war at the Pentagon briefing, both from the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, and the Chairman of Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Kane, that casualties are part of war. We heard it from President Trump as well, that casualties are inevitable. And you mentioned 7 straight nights of American airstrikes inside Iran. Really, the first airstrike started back last week on July 7th when President Trump was in Ankara for the NATO summit, and Iran attacked those 3 commercial ships transiting the Strait of Hormuz. One from Saudi Arabia, 2 others from the United Arab Emirates. Officials say that really irked President Trump. Iran breaking the memorandum of understanding. We heard President Trump say the ceasefire's over. That was the impetus to restart the war, certainly major combat operations in the skies over Iran. And we've been slowly seeing the Pentagon ramp up the target list. Before it was, Keshem Island, trying to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. In the last few nights, we've seen bridges being taken out around Bandar Abbas. That's like the Norfolk of Iran. It's their largest naval base. It's a large commercial port and sits right on the Strait of Hormuz. So President Trump and the Pentagon want to see the Strait of Hormuz open to commercial traffic. But since these airstrikes have ramped up, Aisha, traffic in the Strait of Hormuz has slowed to a trickle. In fact, it's been over 2 months since U.S. warships made that dangerous passage to the Strait of Hormuz as well.
Lucas, just very quickly here before I let you go, because I'm reading the CENTCOM statement along with you as well. And obviously details are limited as they are still talking with families, respecting the families. They're trying to withhold as much information about these fallen warriors as much as they can, but just trying to understand what happened here. Do you know if the Jordanians
were launching defensive airstrikes in return. Do you know if is that what happened here? They just didn't catch a couple of these ballistic missiles?
Most likely, the U.S. Air Force was launching strike missions from this base in Jordan. Again, we've been very public. We see the CENTCOM video showing the 2 aircraft carriers in the Arabian Sea. We see the maps. We show them frequently of all the U.S. naval assets. We normally don't talk about U.S. Air Force assets in the Middle East because a lot of these countries, frankly, don't want it out there. They don't want it very public, although we have an idea, thanks to plane spotters and just monitoring open source media, when some of these jets arrive. But when you look at Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Al Dhafra in the United Arab Emirates, in Qatar, Al Udeid force bases, more fighter squadrons are heading in. I was told by officials that in Jordan in particular, F-16 squadron from Germany was deployed there to Jordan. Also, another squadron of F-35 stealth fighter jets. Recently, we saw F-22 Raptors, also fifth-generation jets, leave the Middle East. So these were likely not just replacements, but President Trump is ramping up this conflict against Iran. And to do that, you need more firepower to do it. And it's not just the U.S. Navy, Aisha. You have to send U.S. Air Force squadrons. A lot of these are based from Germany, from Italy, and of course, some from the United States as well.
Okay, Lucas, stay right there.
So this is, first of
Can
all,
you do
again,
me
one more
a
time.
favor?
I'm
Can
sorry
you
for
run
your
it
loss.
back to where it shows all the strike groups that are there? Because it's also a thing of wonder how many assets we have and how much we're doing. And even though the loss is great to us, like these warfighters are so good at their job that it is very difficult to kill. And you know, it's a credit to them that you know, look at the amount of strength that they're projecting there. Like, this is not a weakness. This is a very strong military there. You see that? Look at all the assets. All of these people are there. Now, as a person that served in the military, I don't want my life to be wasted. None of these people want their life to be wasted, but they kind of know what they signed up for. What they wouldn't want is to be used by some forces that never cared for them and always spit on them when they have the chance to now say, oh, you know, because of this, we should get out, or we should do this, or we should do that. These people would probably not be cool with that. It's good to have respect for them, but it's not good to use them in that fashion, because one of the things that really, really angered me when I was in service, and still does, is when people use our death for their cause. Like, we respect it. We respect that their families are suffering as much as we do anything to get the ones who survive and are in enemy territory. But I want you to see the amount of loss when compared to the amount of assets we have working in this area is minimal, and we have that respect of life. We have that life love that they don't have, and that's what makes us successful. That's why this is a great weight on them. I'd also like to just point out some details. This is in Muwafaq Saudi Air Base in Jordan. The one that is missing, we don't know if he's injured. He was in the base. We don't know if he was just somewhere else. Like, you know, he might be fine. We're hoping, we're praying that he's fine, that everything is okay, and he was just at a different location. Maybe he had to leave the base and came back, something like that. So we don't know any details. We don't have any updates on that yet. So we're hoping for the best in that case. But it's not, you know, it appears to be from that base. It doesn't appear to be like a plane or something else, as far as I can see.
Yeah. So, guys, what we are expecting, and a lot of you in the chat are saying is going to happen, is going to be a massive response by President Trump and by the U.S. military. So there needs to be consequences for action like this. There needs to be major consequences. And America is good at demonstrating what happens when you do something like this. So hopefully we see that response soon. You need to make these people regret this.
Absolutely.
We need to go soon, but before that, let me just read this. Thank you so much, Scarter, I think, for I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing it right. Saying, Armin, during your live stream with Ali last night, you mentioned being concerned for the injured U.S. soldiers without prompt. That response said so much about your character. You are truly genuine. Oh, thank you. Well, thank you for saying that.
Yeah, there's no script here.
And yeah, guys, I just want to let you guys know that you can expect as much as you could expect the Islamic Republic to be absolutely vile and disgusting about what just happened. I'm predicting some celebration, and I'm sorry about what you might see coming. I'm sorry about that, but I also don't want to reassure you that the Iranian people are on your side, and they're gonna mourn their loss with you. I promise you that. And thank you for your support. Monkey, do you have anything else to say before we go?
Just keep these people in your hearts. If you are a person of faith, just, bless their health, bless their hearts, so that they are not burdened too much by this, and extend your kindness and well wishes. What we want is to hope these people know that we support and respect the work that their family members did.
All right, guys, we're gonna go get ready for our discussion group. Actually, I should have had this ready. Sorry, I got distracted. We're gonna go. We're gonna be in our discussion group in about an hour. So if you want to come talk to us there, I'll put the link in the chat. Let me put the link in the chat. Also, make sure that you subscribe to both Liberty Politics and Monkey. I'll put the link to Monkey's channel in the chat. Monkey, you're probably going to be talking about this at some point in your channel as well.
Tonight, definitely tonight.
Yep.
We might have more news about this tonight. I'm probably going to go live around 9 p.m. Eastern to talk about this. If anybody wants to support me over there, go ahead. I really hate to promote myself at a time like this, but it's just part of the job. So I'm going to do it. We're like one away from 700. If anybody would like to subscribe, so we would reach the daily goal on this stream. And I appreciate you guys for being there. We will talk more about this. I'll answer your questions about, what it's like to be in an ex-military. I think it's been eons since I was in, but we'll talk about it.
Monkey, we have like 1 minute before we get to the three hour mark, because if
Okay.
it goes about 3 hour. Yes. So guys, just put the link to Monkey's channel in the chat, and also in the discussion group today, we're going to be talking obviously about this. So if you could come to our discussion group, or you could just watch it live on our channel, which we're going to go live in about an hour on Liberty Politics, and you could watch our discussion over there. Sorry to cut you off, Monkey. Just have to make sure if it goes above 3 hours, then the editor would not be able to upload it. And thank you guys for your support and for being here with us. And again, Americans and everyone else, honestly, it's not just Americans, everyone else. I'm sorry for your loss, and hopefully we get rid of the Islamic Republic so we don't have to deal with this bullshit anymore. And yeah, until 1 hour from now, I'm Israel Chai, Slava Ukrainie, Cuba Libre, long live America, Javicha, Payende, Iran. See you guys soon.